not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. Piper, you're a jerk. I know it's McCready. He's the thing.
My client is innocent.
So good to see you.
Into the internet, and the internet is always right.
To have affairs with different women.
Now, how do you like them apples?
We played sandlot baseball. We made up games.
Stay here while I go talk.
Yeah,
They're missing out on these incredible stories.
JBL, I don't apologize to anybody. You believe that? 20.
But you had a lot of dissension in the Army itself.
There's no easy way out.
Went into Vietnam because of expansion, territorial and global expansion. That was the real reason.
We talked about money over people's lives.
Taylor.
Jansen in the buzzer.
Because we have to come up with some kind of control.
Unbelievable play, and colleague here has been elected to the Basketball Hall of Fame.
So they lost 97-85 at home.
name is Buck, and he is the stuff.
Advice is an opinion. Experience is the only way.
You're the third person who's given me this today.
There's so many different levels to the onion.
You're the ones we saw in front of the castle.
Oh, I don't.
I don't understand what you taught us.
He lost to a black girl who sucked me.
We're often associated with money. Me! They called your name. All hope was lost by many people.
The way you're looking at me, we must be old friends.
That's terrific.
This friendship is close to my heart.
Always it or not.
For every single woman.
2001 to me is duller than dirt.
Hi, I'm Potsy, and this is my good buddy Fonz.
Guess I'm the only one he didn't invite.
That's thicker than water and thicker than your blood.
How long was it before we were in Korea?
Never had an affair.
For USA title.
And this is where there's a personal connection as well.
She was afraid you didn't pack enough underwear.
I guess a lot of people I know are jerks.
What's beautiful about the story of our lives.
Underappreciated mainly by Tom Petty himself.
The script is 450 pages long.
This is Michael.
But happiness and pain are not two separate things.
You heard, Leela.
They are tired of your talk, Isaac.
Place where you see somebody drowning, you jump in and you save them, so you're at the wrong place at the right time.
American dream lives on in Minnesota.
For the part of a lifetime.
Are you listening to me?
This film needs to come back because of the world situation we're in right now.
Because I can control this sport
With one move, DDT.
Oh, look at this!
Don't dare play me cheap.
You need to have time for yourself, time to live, time to breathe.
the Nobel Peace Prize.
His favorite movies ever of all time. I gotta buy this poster.
You were 34. Kill anybody who does.
Scars remind us of where we've been.
This doesn't grow on trees, you know.
That could inhabit the body of the doll.
Technology is to a point now that you could learn a lot from kids.
Morrison is gone. He is out by Hudson.
These are titanium. One guy was about to come over the rail to get to hit the boss.
There's that head-to-head matchup, and he clearly...
If I didn't play basketball, I would probably be in a game.
Quote the Raven, nevermore.
On the way down.
Complex things are become even more complex.
This is Lucas. You had to take risks. You had to fall down. You had to get hit to get up again. You have to fight.
You won't be able to stand the rigors of the NBA. And now that when they were having those meetings during the civil rights, and these athletes took a step forward.
All human beings are all inherently psychic.
Thought you might try that hot shot.
For me, the perfect ending is Orson Welles' Citizen Kane.
Wow, I need to have that faith in myself too.
That's another one.
In LA playing professional sports. And from that point on, I took that to every level.
Look at God and hold him, because he'd be Yoda in my dream.
My mom was just an unbelievable mom, because she was always the positive one in the family. She was always nurturing. She was always telling me I could do any and everything.
We take it one step at a time.
Yeah, I'm trying to win this entire thing.
It's like in sports and church, you can say the same thing. You don't play for individual awards.
Oh yeah, I'd love to be able to say I beat all these guys. About the pride and the pride.
Prize is pretty darn good too.
It's always about the pride.
I'm trying to go to Green.
I'm here to win the whole thing.
I come here to chew gum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubble gum.
It really is about winning.
Yeah, heck yeah, I'm here to win. It's in my DNA.
I'm here to do my best.
Everybody has some pride.
Victory has 1,000 fathers, but defeat is an orphan. Plan on winning tonight.
Here doing mental push-ups.
Winning is really important. What's even greater is inspiring. That's what you do with this show.
Well, you're in it to win it, or why be in it at all?
I'm about winning.
I think I'd be more interested in the prize.
It's about the prize.
I am here to go for the gusto.
Why are you keeping score if you don't want to win it?
I would like to win. We all want to win.
I'm here to win.
You know, I'll leave it up to the voters.
Of course, I'd love to win.
I'm always in it to win it, Avi.
I'm definitely in it to win it.
I've already won.
I hate losing. I want to go to Greece.
It's about the pride. You don't want to come in second. You want to be first.
Well, of course I am. I don't do nothing to lose.
Yes, I do. Of course I do. I want to go to Greece.
I have a newborn daughter. I'm here to win it for her.
Wouldn't be on here if I wasn't going to win something.
Yes, I'm going to win it all, man.
I'm winning it all, baby.
So definitely. To win, I'll turn it back into the pool.
The money? Absolutely. I'm going for it.
Party people! Oh, that's right. I'm here. Nothing better than the top.
We're all going to give it 110%.
We don't go out with no losing mentality.
I'm here to win.
Yeah. Yes, I'm here to win the whole thing, man. I don't get in the ring for losing, man. I'm like in the ring right now.
To do the best I can. Looking forward to it.
But I am here to win.
I'm here to win it.
If it has competition in it, I definitely want to be the one to win.
Use that to kind of opportunity to do those similar things.
Somebody's going to be a winner.
And have to want to win this thing.
The Mountie always gets his man.
I'm going to win. I don't play. I just win.
You finally feel as if you made it when you were, I don't know, maybe being stopped in groceries and airports after appearing on Mary Hartman.
That's exactly right. You've really done your research. That's impressive.
You're sheer 9 or 10. You're probably 9.5. And 10 is no one's perfect. But honest to God, you're terrific. You do your homework. And I appreciate I've done that. Everybody. I've done, in the 80s, I did Johnny Carson. I did Merv Griffin. I did it all. And you're very energetic and good, and you asked the right question.
Welcome, Bronson Pinchot, my friend.
Thank you. I commend you for that.
I mean, that was fantastic. You are great. The only other person that has that kind of spontaneity and the gift of gab was the late, great Chick Hearn. We thought Golden Throat was gone, but he's reincarnated in you.
Thank you, Avi. I agree with all your previous guests. You give good intro.
Another trio of questions, now more underrated. We have Billy D. Williams, Italian man named Skippy, or unicycle.
I'm sorry, Italian men named Skippy. Put me away, Avi. That's.
They sold the merchandise and merch.
They put their own sequels in the movie ahead of time.
Abolish the political parties.
I'll tell you this, Av, you definitely do your homework. Hey, like I said, the good thing about you're extremely prepared, much more prepared than most interviewers that I.
Can I get another Heineken?
Sure.
Oh, where'd you get that book from?
Yeah, there we go.
That's my earful. But
yeah.
amazing. You guys, I tell you what, you did your homework.
Did you have fun here in the green room?
Anytime you want me back, I'm here, brother.
I'm speechless after that. I'm trying to come down from the mountaintop. Prince used to say, we went to the mountaintop. Well, I'm still there.
Glad I filmed that, man. I saw everybody else was so hyped on your intros. I figured I better get that thing since it was live. That was excellent.
Thank you, Avi. And it's just amazing, this show. I'm growing. It's growing on me. It's growing on all America, North America. I think around the world. You've invented something amazing.
John Amos.
Man, what an introduction. I hope I can live up to that. God bless you. I'm prepared to take on this challenge of this wonderful monologue that you've written, and I couldn't think of anything I'd rather do after I read it again for maybe the third or fourth time. I wish that I'd had the time to commit it to memory because it deserves that. Giving me your thoughts and your input, because as I told you, that piece that you sent me is, I love good writing.
Holy cow, what an intro that was. I couldn't have said it better than myself.
Thank you, my friend. What an introduction, I'll tell you. It's amazing.
I've just been waiting on one of those introductions, and I was sitting there watching the opening of the show, seeing all these guys talk about, oh man, thank you, that was the greatest introduction we've ever had. And I'm sitting here, I'm saying to myself, please, I'm waiting on him to introduce me. I want to see exactly what they mean, and they didn't lie. Your mic skills are tremendous, player. I'm telling you right now, man, all I can say is what an honor.
Pleasure being here, man. It's an honor.
Whoa, dude. Yo, if I ever need to find somebody, just in general, I am calling you. That was incredible.
Yeah. Thank you for that great introduction. This is awesome.
This is how I feel about your introduction.
Rico!
Get it. Jerry Lucas, welcome, my friend.
Thank you, Avi, so very much. I appreciate what you've said.
Avi, thank you, man. That is quite the introduction. I've done a ton of these things, as you know. I've never had an intro like that. Kudos to you, man. It's an honor to be with you. Thanks for having me. I totally appreciate it.
Thank you. That's the best introduction I've ever heard in my life. You know something? You need to quit the show and be my moderator and travel with me.
I don't know what to say. I think you should write my own book like the intro. Would you do that again?
You're amazing, brother. I was always known as a good talker, but I don't know what the hell to say after listening to you. You're amazing.
Thanks, man. That was great. I love the introduction. Yeah. You go with me anywhere and introduce me. I appreciate that. That was the best introduction I ever had in my life, my career.
Avi likes to move it.
Oh my God, Avi. Avi, I'm exhausted from listening to you.
Hello, sir. I don't know about making the walls shake, but I'll try to,
Avi, that was unbelievable. Some of the stuff that you brought up, man, you bringing back memories, man. That was fun.
Wow, dude. And that is amazingly everything that's happened in my life up till this moment right now.
Thank you. Thank you, Avi. It was quite a
dissertation.
I think that you've done a fabulous job, and I have not met an interviewer like you. You know, neither have I had some of these questions that really sort of went very deep into my heart.
I thought it was a really good time. It's about education and entertainment.
Man, I had a ball tonight, man. No lie.
I did. I enjoyed it immensely. It really got me thinking, and I really got a chance to meet a couple of fantastic guys.
Now, but my hats off to you. I could have stayed on for hours more. I love different topics. You know, you letting us speak and just reaching other things we never ever spoke about.
Dude, absolutely. Oh my God, this was beyond expectations.
Yes,
I
sir.
love you. This is amazing.
Did you have fun, man?
I really did, Avi. Thank you. It was great.
I had a great time. It was great. I mean, your intro for me was just awesome, but also the intro to the show was like, wow, you have all of these people. The only two people I want to beat right now is Rick Barry and Eddie Jansen. I'm coming for you.
Really good discussion and the respect and you're at the center of it all. And you really are terrific at this. I've never done anything remotely like this. And
I had a blast, man. This was absolutely phenomenal. I hope this takes off even bigger and better.
I had a wonderful time, Avi. You gave me good eargasm tonight, man. I love your voice. I love the things that you talk about, man, and the gift of gab you have. But you're great, my friend. Wonderful, wonderful, great. Love this show. Like I told you, it's almost like you're Chick Hearn reincarnated.
It's completely different. I mean, it's not like a podcast at all. Avi, the way you talk, you're amazing, brother.
This is different. I don't even know where you come up with these questions. You're so innovative. I love it, man, because it got me thinking. Man, this is beautiful. When you got a hangover, you can have some of these.
I've had a 32-year hangover watching the Knicks.
Is eargasm a word?
It is now.
You have something amazing going with the show but you're there and you're educating us. You're taking people from different eras, different disciplines. If you're taking us out of our comfort zone, you're making us fall in love with people that we didn't know.
No one will ever ad-lib like you. It is amazing, though, that everyone that comes on, they always say the same thing. How did you know all of that? That is just simply amazing.
That was one of the best introductions I've ever had in my entire life. Better than my bar mitzvah.
Did you find the technique itself helpful when it came to observing your scene partner staying present instead of strictly relying upon memory?
That's a great question, Avi.
Ralph Cramden, the yoga instructor, or Don Corleone, the computer repair person?
I really enjoyed this, man. You're a smart guy, and you ask really good questions. And
Joe, welcome, my friend.
I think I have whiplash, Avi. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Avi. Good to be back.
What a hell of an introduction. That was cool, man. I don't even think Michael Buffer did it better than you, brother.
thank you, Avi. What an introduction. That was very impressive.
Stretch!
Yo, that was dope.
I appreciate
you better than a lot of these rappers out there.
I stand in awe of your memory and your ability to rhyme, and it's just amazing.
What an incredible introduction, Avi. That is probably the best introduction I've ever had.
Brother, I'm going to take you with me everywhere to get an introduction. That's the best introduction I've ever had in my life.
I am so happy to be on this show.
I hope you didn't mind it. I filmed that intro you just did for me because I'm going to play that on my low self-esteem day.
Hey, Avi, how you doing? Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Jake Roberts, my friend.
Wow, that was scary.
How you doing?
Thank you, Avi. That was mind-blowing.
I love this. This is great. You got the intro down to a science, baby.
That was great, man. Where'd you dig that all up? That's amazing.
Hey, Avi. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
It's great to be here and great to be back interviewed by you. It's been far too long.
Happy New Year.
Oh, you are so wonderful. Happy New Year to you. I am so grateful for our friendship. You appreciate things in people that make such a difference. You're quite wonderful. It's brilliant.
You made me laugh, too. It was great.
I think Alf would be wisecracking while the alien would be tearing everybody up apart, I guess. Let's talk about some of the 80s horror classics. Eddie, welcome, my friend.
Well, thank you for having me, and I'm excited about it.
All of the actors and directors, different worlds come together. This is like a sanctuary for those people because we don't always get to talk about the things that really, truly move us. I love this show because it makes me feel.
Welcome to the green room.
How did
did you do that thing where you were talking so fast?
I don't know.
I very few people can do what you did. Well, the acting teacher here, 35 years, commends you on your ability to do that. I'm very impressed.
Man, I had a ball tonight. Nobody do it like my boy Avi.
I had a good time.
Because I've done podcasts in the past, and so what have you done, and what are you going to be doing later? This is fantastic. I mean, this gets your juices going. You know, it gets you thinking. We had fun. You know, it's fun, and it is education.
I definitely did. This was great.
It was intellectually stimulating, which is a unique thing in this world of ours today.
I had a fabulous time. Thanks for having me on the show.
And Avi, great job. This is interesting and different.
Question, did you have a good time, my friend, tonight?
I did. It's so unusual to be engaged in what everybody else is saying and to want to listen.
It was awesome. It was really great.
I want to compliment you on giving me my best introduction I've ever had in my whole life, too. That's the first thing.
Thank you.
Thank you. You said things about me that I don't even remember. And what a collection of wonderful personalities you have.
And I really enjoyed every minute of it, man. Thank you so much for having me, and I'm just happy I made it to the next round.
Yeah, I had a great time. It was wonderful. I mean, it was so thought-provoking.
And you, Avi, I have a great deal of respect for your resume as well. I mean, I've done many interviews over the years, but this has been one of the most fun by far.
Well, thank you very much. I can't think of a better way to begin the new year than with you, with the wonderful people that you have surrounding you.
Did you have fun tonight, my friend?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Looking for
being around people who are willing and open. I like that.
I did have a good time. It was a lot different than what I thought it was going to be, and I really enjoyed it.
I appreciate you, and I appreciate the opportunity. It was exhilarating. Like Barry, I didn't know what to expect. I enjoyed it.
It's good to be able to see that you bring people together that, you know what, maybe one of the world's problems will get solved by listening to this show. And I want you to accept the accolades that you get from all of these brilliant people. They tell you that you're smart. They tell you that you're exposed. These are comments and compliments that you have to say, thank you very much, I accept.
Wasn't sure what to expect. You're number one in my book as far as putting on a podcast, knowing what you know.
You're terrific. I've never done something like this before, so it was fun.
No, you know what? You're a very interesting person. With all this rhyming stuff, you must really put a lot of effort into this. I would love to read or see something that you've written because I'm sure it's really interesting.
Underrated and why? Sauerkraut, Henry Kissinger's deep soothing voice, or dogs wearing sweaters?
I like dogs wearing sweaters.
Great. Is teaching this craft as rewarding for you as performing?
I think sometimes it's more rewarding. Where did you do your research? I'm very impressed.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. You do a great job preparing.
A very simple formula. Everybody's a suspect.
I hope you're getting paid a lot. That was the greatest intro I think I've ever had. The amount of stuff that you talked about that I don't even remember about myself, so impressive that I'm highly impressed. So I would give this a very high A.
It was like a high school reunion.
It's terrific, and it's fun, and keep bringing diverse personalities together. I think that's great, and it's also wonderful to hear people talk sanely to each other today.
What's up, Vic? How you doing, man? I like that introduction. Golly, I didn't know that stuff about myself. This is, I think, my top. I mean, because when you do the intro you gave me, I gotta give it to you. I like
you deserve it. Later on, you were able to get her cast on a series, and she received her SAG card.
Oh, I love you that you brought that up.
I can't tell you how refreshing it is that somebody knows what they're doing.
What an honor to meet you, and
My
you're
pleasure.
great.
Oh, I enjoyed it.
Courtney, did you have a lot of fun too as well?
Oh, yeah.
I had a blast. This is a great show.
What a blast.
I had a great time tonight. If you keep rhyming, man, like I said, it gave like a battle rap, spoken word.
You know, usually I'll do interviews and get asked the same questions about Stephen King. This was great to talk about things that matter, that go beyond project.
Last name Jansen, first name Eddie.
Wow, when I have a retirement party, even at my funeral, you better show up.
Papa Smurf as a hip hop artist.
Yo, yeah.
You're very talented. That's amazing.
Mr. Sizemore, first name Tom. How are you, my friend? So I could turn the volume lower if you'd like next time, if you'd like me to do that.
I don't know what I can do now.
First name Keith.
Oh my God, what a great introduction. Fantastic. You do your research, connected with me right there. And he knows my brand. He nailed it. And now I know why. This is why your audiences love you. This is why you continue to do great guests. And great guests beget great guests.
Joe, you've done a lot of these. You had fun, my friend, tonight?
Oh, I had a ball.
Well, you know, my friend, I had such a great time. Did you enjoy yourself tonight?
I enjoyed myself so much. Oh, man.
I had a blast. I didn't know what to expect. But meeting Joe, and we just had a phenomenal time. Everyone involved, I say thank you.
This is a bit different. Did you have fun?
I had a lot of fun. I mean, this is fantastic, man. You do a great job. The questions you come up with for everybody is fantastic.
Did you have a good time, my friend?
I did.
You're always, you're always doing this, and
thank you,
bringing wonderful minds together, bringing wonderful questions. Your questions are so well thought out, and they allow us to go beyond these. The nonsense. As actors, and even Mr. Scott, all of us, we all know. Generally, when we're being interviewed, the questions are very surface level, repetitive. Nonsense, and we wind up having to do all the work, right? And so to be able to be inspired, not only by everybody's answers, but everybody's hearts and everybody's minds, but everybody's commitments to staying honest, came through.
I think it's fabulous.
I'm excited.
Guys and gals and pals, here we are on yet another Saturday night here on the Green Room. 175 episodes. And if you're a fan of unbridled passion, then that intro says it all as it can melt the South Pole. This place we call the Green Room is filled with edutainment and has plenty of heart and soul. It's time I listen, though, to Stanislavski and take a beat as I process everything in real time. This is the 175th consecutive episode of The Green Room, a feeling that cannot be expressed through a mere rhyme. With a bevy of views on 53-plus pages week in and week out, innovation is our name and the sweat is the sweet. Dedication, labor, and innovation only arrive when your effort is absolute, so put that in a tweet. And in this celebrity tournament that has captivated the masses, the field is one of a kind. Luminaries from all walks of life gathering to compete for the pride and the prize and the knowledge. This is truly a sport of the mind. Sure, the numbers are fantastic on 53 pages, not including my own. But what's even sweater is the sweet. By that, I mean good old-fashioned work ethic, wholehearted passion. Effort and consistency never lead to regret. The good bard Mr. Shakespeare himself said, our doubts are traitors and make us lose the good we oft might win by fearing to. Oh, and those words ring ever so true. It means that you are the author of your story. Don't edit your vision due to others that secretly prefer to boo while attempting to obstruct your view. With $13,000 in trip for 2 degrees and becoming the first champion of this star-studded field, a lot is on the line. But you, our audience, the engine that makes this thing go, are the sweet nectar that we appreciate like fine old wine. As strangers become friends and we all come together, let's remember that we are closer than one might surmise. Limitless visions of innovative bliss experienced by an ensemble is the vision behind these eyes. Never hate the flower for starting out as a seed. Long distance running is essential. This isn't a stampede, so don't run anyone over on your way to the top. Focus on yourself and never forget to cheerlead. Root for your loved ones and lift people up. This human fortune cookie hopes that we have all agreed that positivity is something that we can never concede. So guys and gals and pals, before I bring in our first judge, I do want to say this. Tonight, the key word, if there is one, is family. Because all three of these luminaries, and our judges too as well, they not only have their priorities straight, but what they've done past tense, and what they do present tense, and what they're going to still do future tense for their families really do inspire me. Because at the end of the day, it is all about our families. And these 5 to 6 individuals that you'll be seeing tonight, including our judges, God, they inspire me every single day. So guys and gals, thank you again for bringing us so close to your living room. We appreciate that. And we're going to start this thing off right now, guys and gals. Again, 175 episodes. If you want to predict who some of these mystery competitors are, go ahead. You can predict them right now, guys and gals. I'm looking at the comment section to see whether or not you guys and gals are ready to predict who will be here. I've given you clues all week long. So with that, guys and gals and pals, again, thank you for joining us on the Green Room here live. Let's bring in our first judge, guys. And again, I am looking at some of your questions and some of your predictions. I appreciate, again, all of the love that you guys are bestowing upon us. We do have some people who've gotten a couple of predictions right. So there we go, guys and gals. The first thing I want to do right now, if I can, is bring up someone from the back who has been with us for quite some time. Let me just bring up some comments over here, guys and gals. Again, thank you for joining us. I'm going to make sure that in a moment we are going to see our first celebrity judge join us. So guys and gals and pals, let's bring in Giselle, who's in the back, if she can, momentarily. Giselle, please let us know what it feels like to be on the 175th episode. I'll put you on for about a minute. I will take care of something in the back, and we'll be off to the races.
Hi. I am so excited to be here for the 175th episode and be here live for it in real time. When I started this journey of the green room, I never could have imagined that we would have gotten so far in such a short amount of time. And we've gone through several evolutions, and you've stuck with us through them all, and we love you all for being here. So celebrating 175 consecutive episodes with no nights off in a row as we keep growing and growing is one of the best feelings I have had in the past year.
I concur. Likewise. And thank you. Guys and gals, it's all about edutainment, conversation, not controversy. And yes, we are philosophically fun. So with that, let's bring in our first judge. Details matter because they create depth, and depth creates authenticity. Humility is not thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of yourself less. Our first judge tonight is a man that thinks of others. Whether it's a teenager in an auto wreck that seeks his advice, top flight business people, or anyone that qualifies as a human being, his heart is something to behold. Many stay hung on titles, class systems, status symbols. I don't, and neither does he. In this journey, he has become a great friend who I enjoy long conversations with about things that in life matter. He's someone that deserves good energy because in his presence, there's never any strife. One of the greatest in-ring storytellers of our time? Check. The masses are in awe of his body of work from Jersey to Quebec. But let's take a moment to applaud his work ethic and the moral ground of which he stands on. He'll lift your spirits and remind you of a new dawn. So sit back and enjoy your dinner. Maybe it's a filet or a creme brulee or perhaps some other entree, and respect the message that he will always convey. He's in round 2 of this tournament. I speak of the one and only Magnum TA. Magnum, if you could unmute your microphone, my friend. Here we are. Magnum TA, my friend. How are you? And your mic is muted, my friend. If you could unmute your mic, I'd appreciate that. There we go.
Unmuted. Can you hear me now?
How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great, Avi. I'm so proud of the evolution of this great body of work that you put together, and really just excited to see where it's going because you've come so far, but you've got so much farther to go. And I'm glad to be along on that journey with you.
It means a lot to me, and your friendship means a lot to me, and what you stand for means a lot to me. And I know based on all our viewers and what they're commenting, a lot of people have Magnum TA going very far in this tournament. He's in round number 2. He and I will also discuss something after the segment. Magnum, no one knows who the mystery competitors are. I can't wait to see them. We're going to learn so much from each other by listening, and it's still going to be fun. That's why we call it edutainment as well. Are you looking forward to tonight?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
I am too, my friend. Magnum TA, guys, we're going to see Magnum right after topic number 1, and thank you for showing up here on the 175th episode, my friend.
My pleasure.
Magnum TA, guys, wholeheartedly one of the greatest human beings. And right now, guys, yes, speaking of great human beings, let's bring in yet another great human being. What can be said about the following judge? A lot, a whole lot, and a lot more, because that is what he provides, a whole lot. When witnessing his quality of being plentiful and generous, one cannot help but be amazed. You see, as I used to remind my students, there are 4 types of generosity. I want us to all listen to this. 4 types of generosity. Giving material aid, giving teachings and advice, providing protection from fear, and giving love. Well, what do you know? This man provides everything I just listed in abundance. He's seen the world and reached every mountaintop that he has climbed, because impossible is a word to be found only in the dictionary of fools. Nothing's impossible. He ignores the word impossible as he introduces the word probable to the word resolvable. He subscribes to loyalty over royalty, as wealth is not something that you can buy. From day number 1, he's not only been an ally, but a man I owe a lot to because he's a man that stays grounded, even though he can fly. Yes, he has soared to heights all of us can only dream of, yet his reality is much more fulfilling than anything the Sandman can sprinkle. His wholehearted and genuine sentiments can inspire anyone, even a lazy old Rip Van Winkle. More than anything else, he has restored my faith in humanity because of his intellect, grace, humility, heart. They're all qualities that I never take for granted. Hall of Famer, multi-time Olympian, poet, scholar, host. These are some of the words that some have chanted. I concur. But before anything else, I use the word brother. To me, he's a big brother. But don't get it twisted. He can still twist and bend anyone in this tournament like no other. So get up off your seats as if you're getting wild at a rock concert hosted by Linkin Park as we greet humanity at its best and welcome as always a legend, Last name Henry, first name Mark. Mark Henry, welcome, my friend.
What's going on, man? Listen, I always love the introductions, but you put something in there new this time.
A little new.
And who knew? We all know.
I'll tell you, man.
Dictionary of Fools.
You know what? I thought.
Cow.
Would you agree with that, Mark? Would you concur?
I love that. I think that there should be a dictionary of fools. It wouldn't take very long to write because it would start. It would start with "I know better," and it would end with "But I'm not gonna listen."
That's right, and I'm not gonna listen. I refuse to listen, which is how we learn. Man, it is February, Mr. Mark Henry. How are you feeling right now in your world? Because before we bring in our participants who are gracious and are here to win, of course, but also, again, learn from one another in this living room style conversation in your living room, outside, on the phone, in the email, whatever we're doing, we're always talking about stuff that matters. Family. It's all about family. And there's a lot of great things happening in your life right now.
Oh, yeah, man. Both of my kids, I got to go watch my daughter win a basketball tournament today. Jacob is got accepted to the University of Oklahoma and is going to go there and wrestle. He's undefeated, haven't been scored on this year, 30-0, and with 27 pins out of his 30 matches. So he's doing really good, and the missus is putting up with all of us. Tell you something, man. I've had the opportunity this week to get my flowers,
right?
And just make me want to be better. You know, like I realized after the conversation that I had with a very important person here in Austin, Texas,
sure,
that I'm a living, breathing Black History moment walking, and I got to live up to that. And that's kind of like, that was the best compliment. And it's always good to get the compliments, but it's even better to be able to put the work in and have people recognize it. That's why I always give you your flowers, because you do a lot of work, and the research that you do on all the luminaries and actors and artists and wrestlers that come on this program. I mean, hundreds of hours of research, and that says a lot about a human being. So you care about the product that you put out, and that's why the show is so successful.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And throw right back at you, because you deserve your roses, my friend. And really, the moment that you hang on to eternally is the smile you receive from others. And guys and gals, as you know, Mr. Mark Henry has one of the greatest smiles in the world. And again, you always resonate with people through the virtual arena. But the thing I want to bring up really quickly is, what greater place to practice what you espouse? Because, you know, wealth is something money can't buy. And I want you to take your flowers, because blessed are they who see beautiful things in humble places where other people see nothing. You always see something, my friend.
I do. I mean, I love the term, the concrete rose.
Yes.
You know, you walk and you see something that shouldn't exist. It shouldn't live. But you see this beautiful flower growing out of the crack in a concrete with just a little bit of dirt and no real fertilizer or food, but just every now and then you get some rain, or somebody spills a drink, and it's still able to survive. Like that concrete rose mentality stands out to me, and I try to live like that, man. Like, give yourself as much as you can, because there's going to be a day where we're not going to be here, and when people talk about you, you want them to say things that are becoming and not the opposite.
Well, what I love about what you say is the words that you express and articulate stand on their own 2 feet, and they run. They're a fortress. Your words are a fortress because they mean something. They're unbreakable. And again, it's a testament to who you are every single day of the week, my friend. Who knows who the participants are tonight? I will bring you up momentarily right after topic number 1. Are you excited for this? You're one of the favorites to win this thing, Mark.
I'm excited because I get to see my competition.
I like that. I like that. Guys, Mr. Mark Henry, I will see you momentarily, my friend. Guys, a class act all the way, every step of the way, any medium. any conversation. This man has become one of my best friends, and I really appreciate him for what he stands for. And our third judge, the following man, guys and gals, is a highly intelligent man that was here before the countdown clock. He's an expert on many things, especially horror, from Carpenter to Hitchcock. He keeps things even-keeled and has a focus that can rival Mr. Spock. He's a good human being and friend, and I shall never ignore his knock. So put your hands together for a sharp, positive human being. Last name Richards, first name Rock. How are you, my friend?
Avi, I got to be honest with you, my brother. I mean, I'm trying to catch my breath here. You watch that the intro, and I mean, the juices are flowing, and then you start seeing the talent that's just lined up one after the other, and I liken it to like going to like an old comedy club where you see the photos of all the comedians that have been there before. I mean, when you get there, you feel that energy. You really get to put a face on the source of all that energy, and I mean, including you. Well, I appreciate it, brother. I mean, I'm so humble and thankful to be here. I thank you for having me, and I'm really excited about tonight. I mean, there's an energy here, man, a tingle. You know, it's like that moment before tip off, and I feel it, brother.
How can I have episode number 175 without you, my friend? How can I do that?
Like I said, brother, I just can't tell you, how thankful I am that I'm here and get to kick it with you guys tonight, man.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
I see you're doing big things, and I love to see you grow. I love to see you do your thing. So,
well, I'm glad you were a big part of this thing when we started. You're here right now, Rock, guys and gals, in the tournament. I'm gonna put you backstage momentarily and bring you right in right after topic one. One of the sharpest people I know. What an intelligent class act that man is, Rock Richards. And guys, again, right now, here we are. We're at the point where you're going to find out who our luminaries are. So I'm going to bring in our very first right now, guys, and I cannot wait to introduce you to him because he is quite the class act. The moment we believe that success is determined by an ingrained level of ability, as opposed to resilience and hard work, we will be brittle in the face of adversity. And our first participant is a man that epitomizes the word resilient. He also happens to be a down-to-earth human being that is as real gets. His tenacity, determination, humility, and success story is an inspirational story in which the final chapter is yet to be written. The genesis of his story can be traced to West Alice, where he was the youngest of 9 children born to Harry and Geraldine. As a 4-year-old, he was dropped off at the rink, where years later his work was immaculate and pristine. As watching him on the ice was rather serene on many a television screen. That's all it took. As from then on, he would go to the rink with his brother and sisters whenever they skated. The following cannot be overstated, as unlike yours truly who attempted this as a child to no avail and became rather frustrated. But this man's story is one that makes me quite elated. So as I stated, he started on double runners. He was 4 years old and racing by the time he finished that first year on ice. It wasn't easy as once, twice, thrice, as his father Harry, a police officer, and his mother Jerry worked hard, and money was tight as paying one's dues may not always seem like paradise. But take my advice, that success comes with a price, and one must sacrifice, while making sure to always remain precise. With support from his siblings, who also skated, they would skate indoors until the middle of November, and then they would move outdoors until the cold went away. Traveling on the weekends for competitions on frozen lakes and ponds were great memories that would amount to much someday. It would have been a career without his parents, who made incredible sacrifices in order for him to pursue his dream. He even excelled at football, as in high school he was part of that particular team. He picked skating, and within 4 years was winning national meets in his age group. This during long winters where most kids were watching TV over a bowl of Campbell's soup. He might have won the national championship at 11 years old, if only he didn't slip on a lane marker in 1977, which cut like a knife. It was then that his father helped him put his loss in perspective, a great lesson in this journey called life. By the age of 16, he was fully focused on skating and was competing overseas against the world's best junior skaters and set a junior record in 1983. Support is key. And in his first Olympic Games in 1984 in Sarajevo, there were many moments of glee, as he wasn't nervous and quite carefree, as the audience would shriek like an overjoyed banshee. What an imprint on a sport he was thriving! As a silver medal in the 500 and the 1985 World Sprint, and becoming the first American to skate the 500 in under 7 seconds in 1986. Winning all of the World Cups, he was the clear favorite to win the 1988 Olympic Games when tragedy struck and would be quite difficult to contain. After a 13-month battle with leukemia on Valentine's Day, he would lose his sister Jane. With 4 days to prepare, he did indeed race with a heavy heart, but it was in fact his heart and resolve that earned him the admiration of millions, which resulted in the U.S. Olympic Committee's Spirit Award. It's safe to say that no one was floored as he continued to win on his own accord, as he reached toward the gold like a knight with honor wielding his sword. More World Cup victories and a world record were achieved before the 1992 Olympic Games in Albertville. In the 1994 Olympic Games, it all came together due to his drive. Witnessing it was quite a thrill. With 1976 gold medalist Peter Mueller by his side, he was truly in a good headspace. He beat out heavy favorite Igor from Belarus and captured the gold and broke a world record in that particular race. Shortly after the ceremony, he received a phone call from President Clinton, appeared on every talk show, and graced the cover of Sports Illustrated. When a movie based on his story aired in 1996, many were elated, as his love for his sister Jane was and is always demonstrated. After retiring, he won the prestigious AAU James E. Sullivan Award as the most outstanding athlete in the United States. He came a long way from that 4-year-old in Wisconsin who couldn't wait to put on a pair of skates. Some numbers? Sure. This man has won 46 World Cup races, 7 overall titles. He set 8 world records. He won the gold medal in 1994. He was inducted into the United States Olympic Hall of Fame in 2004. He makes a positive difference in people's lives, which is something we should all strive to do in our lifespan. So give it up for a wonderful, talented, humble human being. Last name Jansen, first name Dan. Welcome, Dan Jansen, to the celebrity tournament, my friend.
Thank you, Avi. What a pleasure. I don't know what to say after that. You rap, you do it all, and you manage to get it all in. So thank you so much. It's my honor and pleasure to be here.
I appreciate that, man. I really do. And, I meant every word of it because tonight's theme is family. And if anyone respects, loves, adores, and does something for his family and has done so much for his family, it is you, my friend. And I loved hearing about your parents as well and researching about your dad, police officer. It was such a joy growing up as a child, from what I could tell.
Man, very much. I thought I wanted to have 9 kids until I became a parent, but it was the best way that I could ever imagine growing up. 9 kids in the Midwest, and it's perfect.
And they all skated.
At one point, yeah.
One point. Dan, I got to ask you this question. I know you're a competitor as well. We're going to learn a lot. It's fun. I know it sounds cliche, but we're all going to win. But when it comes to that one person who stands atop the mountain, we have right now 97 Hall of Famers, Oscar, Tony, Grammy, Emmy Award, Golden Globe, AMA, WGA, and Olympians all in this tournament. You're here to win the entire thing, my friend?
You know what? Of course. I mean, look, I preach doing your best. I preach all that, but if you don't actually want to win, you don't have anything to strive for and to set goals for. So yeah, darn right, I want to win this thing.
I love it, my friend. And guys, I'm going to call up our second participant who there might be some tech issues in the back. I'm not sure if you can hear me. I'm going to call him and I'm going to bring in Magnum TA for a moment, if he can. Magnum, this is Dan and Mark Henry, if you'd like, and Rock Richards as well. Let me bring in Magnum. How are you, Magnum TA? Legendary Magnum TA.
Doing great.
Guys and gals, a legendary human being, one of the greatest pro wrestlers of all time and one of the greatest speakers of all time, and Mr. 2-time U.S. Olympian, Hall of Famer, Hall of Fame human being and legend, Mr. Mark Henry as well. Mark, Dan.
Dan, how you doing?
Guys, hey, Mark, my pleasure, my friend, my pleasure.
Man, the pleasure is mine.
Magnum, you as well, Magnum. Thank you guys for being here.
Absolutely. And Mr. Richards, I'm going to bring you in as well. I'm going to call our second participant. He might have some audio issues. Mr. Rock Richards. I will see you guys momentarily.
Nice to see you, everybody. Thank you for having me.
Good to be here.
Dan, I was a big fan back in the day. I watched you in your journey and your accomplishments, and I'm here in Charlotte, North Carolina. There was a lot of folks here pulling for you. So
first of all, thank you. It means the world to me. And I live in Mooresville. I'm in Charlotte as well. I'm up at the lake, so we're neighbors.
Absolutely.
That's great. Mark, where are you?
I'm in Austin, Texas.
You're in Austin. And Rock?
I've done a couple
pardon me.
in Lake Placid, and I got to see a lot of the training up close and personal. You don't realize how fast y'all move until you see it in person.
Yeah.
Ever go to the Winter Olympics or get a chance to, you got to do it.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, you know what, though? We're all of us Olympians are in pretty obscure, I should say, sports in this country anyway. And so it's fun to see each other do what we do because we don't get the, Super Bowls and until the Olympics come. And then, then it's a different story. But yeah, thank you, man. And Rock, say it again, where you're at?
I'm coming from Elizabeth City. I just moved here, recently married to my wife. I used to live in Yorktown, Virginia, A little bit close to where Mr. TA is from.
Nice.
Aren't you? Are you a Virginia Beach native, my friend?
I am.
Okay, yes, I've been on the boardwalk many times.
Oh yeah, a lot of good memories down there. Going down to the gym and then cruising up and down that boardwalk. I didn't know how good I had it.
There at the Scope Arena.
Yeah.
That's it.
Guys and gals, again, we're not going to reveal who this is, but Dan and Dan and our next guest who I'm bringing in, we did meet one of the participants in the back. He was here with us for about 30 minutes, having some audio issues. We're going to see if we can take care of that. If not, it'll be one-on-one with our next participant who I'll bring in, Mr. Richards and Mr. Magnum TA and Mr. Mark Henry. Thank you again, guys and gals and pals who are writing for the judges being here on 175th episode. Thank you for giving them love, guys and gals, because, again, every time they're here, I could fly like a dove. So Magnum TA, Rock Richards, and Mr. Mark Henry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Man, I wish, Dan, that sometimes I'm full of energy, but I wish people could kind of take a deep dive inside this old noggin. They may scream for a couple of minutes, but the love is so wholehearted, man. I love being able to do something creative, make new friends out of this. This kind of becomes like the Breakfast Club, and I think that's going to happen tonight as well, because there's a lot of respect that we have for one another. And our next participant, guys and gals and pals, also has a ton of respect, and I have a ton of respect for him. This is an individual, guys and gals, that is quite acclaimed. Dan, I'm going to put you backstage momentarily and bring him right in. Mr. Dan Jansen, guys, again, class personified. There's no doubt about that. Right now, guys, I want to bring in our third participant because our second one is having some tech issues. So this is going to be our third participant who I'm going to bring in right now. And guys, let me just bring this up as well. I do want to tell you thank you again for all those who support us. The studio, again, who I've been working and writing for a very long time. Appreciate you guys wholeheartedly. Thank you for believing in what we do. Without question, what we do here is edutainment at its finest, and we do it live every single Saturday. And hey, how about this? 4.2 thousand subscribers in 6 days on our YouTube channel. That's pretty cool. Let's keep tugging away at that. Our next participant. The foundation for a balanced success are honesty, character, integrity, faith, love, and loyalty. And the following participant's actions always speak louder than a lion's roar. He never fails at anything because a man that loves and supports his family is the true definition of a success story. Perhaps it's those that strive to be of value and not succeed in the old-fashioned way. Success, guys and gals. What is success? Maybe those that realize happiness is the key to success, not the other way around. Well, the latter epitomizes our third participant. He's class personified and a man of integrity, virtue, and honor. He was born in 58 and began a journey that would solidify his status as one of the very best. As an adult, they would appreciate his excellence from the Midwest to Budapest, as he would be hard-pressed to suggest that there is one country on planet Earth that missed out on experiencing this man's excellence, as we were all there to invest. But first, let's go back to the very beginning of his quest. His father showed him how to punt, pass, and kick. As an 8-year-old, he would win quite the contest. He won a punt and pass contest and went to the semis and competed in halftime of 2 pro games. The Eagles and Steelers followed by the Cowboys and Redskins. There were 15 kids remaining, and he beat every one, much to all of their chagrins. He won again when he was 12, and later on he threw a football for 65 yards. He was a 3-sport athlete with many options, but fate would step in to reveal its cards. He attended Newark Valley High School in Newark Valley, New York, and he transferred to Owego Free Academy, where he lettered in wrestling and football. He excelled rapidly and drew many top recruiters who definitely had the wherewithal. He participated in amateur wrestling, becoming a sectional champion in the 215-pound class in 1976 and the New York State Championships. He was incredible, and he placed 4th. And many moons later, he became one of the top stars at the biggest pro wrestling promotion, which happened to be up north. After graduating from high school, he attended one of the finest sports universities in the country. I'm talking about Syracuse, not to be confused with a city in Sicily, which many would deduce dedicates a temple to the Greek god Zeus. He competed in football and amateur wrestling, becoming Eastern Intercollegiate Wrestling Association champion in 1981 and becoming a letter winner in 77, 78, 79, and 81. Wow. And by the way, everyone, one of his recruiters, legendary Giants coach Tom Coughlin, who guided the Giants to 2 Super Bowl defeats of the Patriots. And as a New Yorker, that was a lot of fun. He played with legendary football players such as Joe Morris, Craig Wolfley, Jim Collins, and the great Art Monk. Years later, he'd be involved in a hot feud with the legendary Dory Funk. One day he met the legendary Destroyer after a wrestling banquet and was asked if he would be interested in going pro. He did. The Destroyer became his Mr. Miyagi, but he needed to make some dough. So what do you know? He was off to Germany as promoter Mr. Squinkovich paid him $400 to participate in the show. He wrestled in Canada, and next was Mid-Atlantic, as Wahoo McDaniel liked his strong amateur background. Within 6 months, he won the TV title, as he would ascent and astound, as pound for pound, he was impactful as a Wilt Chamberlain rebound. Next up was New York, where he quickly won tag gold, but behold, his tag partner Barry Windham's sister Stephanie would meet him, surrounded by the backdrop of many a cheer, as he was excelling during a fast, rising period in his career. They would end up married within half a year. This man's resume is mind-blowing, so let's take a moment and talk shop. One-time Eastern Intercollegiate Wrestling Association heavyweight champion, 3-time NWA Florida heavyweight champion, 2-time NWA Southern heavyweight champion, 4-time NWA U.S. Tag Team Champion, 1-time NWA World Tag Team Champion, 3-time NWA World Television Champion, 1-time NWA Canadian Television Champion, 5-time WWF Tag Team Champion, George Tragos Luthes Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame, ranked number 26 in PWI 594, 1-time Slammy Award winner. The man provides the masses with memories, with victories, and defeats. But you better organize all of your receipts, because from 91 to 95, one thing he wouldn't tolerate were any tax cheats. That's right, he added many authentic layers to one of the most iconic wrestling characters of all time. I'm speaking of I.R.S. But despite locker rooms and human games of chess, this man would never stress, because he did it all for his family, as his work would continue to impress. Multiple stints with Ted Turner's WCW in a career that would end in May of 2004. Whether it was in the States or in Japan, the fans wanted more and asked for an encore, but he gave them his all while reminding us what he will always stand for. In about 30 seconds, you'll leap from your seats, as you definitely will applaud a man that is so easy to like. So give it up for a real, kind, humble, intelligent human being. Last name Rotunda, first name Mike. Mike, welcome to the TK Celebrity Tournament, my friend.
Thank you, Avi. You definitely have skill, my friend.
Nah.
That was an awesome introduction, and I appreciate it. It's great to be here with all your other guests, and hopefully our guest that is supposed to be here on the show can make it as well with his tech difficulties. And I want to say hi to our judges, to Magnum, Mark Henry, and Jock. It's nice to meet Jock. I know Mark Henry and Terry Allen from way back. Actually, I produced quite a few Mark Henry matches when I was producing with WWE. So it's good to see you guys, and it's great to be here.
Wow. Guys and gals and pals, Mike Rotunda. And, you know, typical of you to always give people roses, because you deserve yours too. And really getting to know you over the past couple of weeks and month, you do kind of what I do. You deflect. Someone throws something nice at you, you make it about them. You put people in a comfortable situation where you're always making them smile, my friend. And that's wholehearted. Mike, I got to ask you the golden question. I know you've been to Greece. I know you liked it there. Pride in the prize, becoming the one sole person to win this entire thing that thus far has 97 Hall of Famers, Oscar, Emmy, Tony, Grammy, Golden Globe, Olympians, all in this entire tournament. Are you here to win the entire thing, my friend?
I'll just say this, Avi. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
I love it. I love it, guys and gals. Mike Rotunda's in the house. 2,000 comments already. Thank you. Mr. Dan Jansen is in the house. And guys, I'm reading a text. Mike and Dan, we did meet the third participant in the green room. Everything seemed to be okay. So he is not, his tech is not good right now, but we did get a chance to meet him backstage. He'll be back here again. I think he's trying to sign in again. Sir, can you hear me in the back? Are you able to hear me? Thumbs up if you can. I'm not sure. Oh, you can hear me. Yes. Great. You can hear me. Awesome. I will bring you in right now. Dan and Mike, I'll put you backstage momentarily, guys.
Okay.
Again, guys, we are live, but we'll always thrive and survive, because this is what we do, and take a deep dive as well. Mr. Participant, I cannot wait. Can you hear me well, sir, in the back? Just to make sure. And I can't hear you until I bring you in, but thumbs up one more time if you can hear me. Awesome. Guys and gals and pals, let's bring in our third participant right about now. Again, guys, thank you again for joining us and making the green room and the TKN Celebrity Tournament what it is now. A lot of people are contacting me asking to be in this tournament. It is an exclusive field, to say the very least. And guys, right now, it is time to bring in our third participant. When reading the fall 2001 issue of Classic Trains, I can't help but admire a particular line our next participant wrote. To be perched in the cab of a vintage F7, Rounding the great curve at Clinton Street, interlocking, was as close to paradise as it got. My thoughts? Family. Again, tonight's theme. The lamp of bright light is lit when time is spent with loved ones. Grandpa Chet sounded like a truly special man. Olivia, in the Bard Mr. Shakespeare's 12th Night, says it best. Love sought is good, but given unsought better. Love is best when it is given freely rather than requested. Once again, family. Our next participant is a remarkable and fascinating human being with layers of depth going several orders of magnitude deep, as he's a remarkable and fascinating human being, and he shared the intimate understanding of the self with a public audience. He was born and raised in Chicago, son of Virginia, telephone operator, and William, a tool designer. Before he became a headliner, he treasured his family trips to Fort Madison, Iowa, to visit his grandparents, Chet and Ruth, and I can't think of anything finer. His father had a nice voice, always had a radio on, set to easy listening, some light jazz. And like his mom, he would dance around it in the room. Through his honest and truthful storytelling, a global audience would escape their doom and gloom. He would play the entire Sgt. Pepper album in the summer of '67. He attended St. Francis Xavier in which Park High? That would be Kelvin. He attended, and guys and gals, and went through his gang and greaser phase, because as a teen, rebellion is something that will always commence. But a great childhood listening to his granddad, who always had stories to tell and items to dispense. Music is the great leveler, as his mom would be reduced to tears when he played her a chorus from Nabucco. I can relate, and so, as when words fail, music speaks, when you're enjoying Merlot, in Fargo, Moscow, or Glasgow. As an offshoot of meeting people in his high school chorus, he joined a folk group. He played guitar and banjo before ever joining a theater troupe. He decided to pursue the arts, and wasn't as impulsive as it seemed, because the arts seemed so ridiculously impractical, but he committed to the notion and put all common sense aside. He couldn't afford room and board at the University of Illinois, so public transportation is how he would ride. He produced a bachelor's degree from Illinois and an MFA from Yale University. And despite future acclaim, fame, and a name, he always retained his humanity. Initially, he studied for a pre-medicine degree, but then realized it wasn't a good fit. He wandered into anthropology next, but something else happened. Let me get right into it. He went to watch an audition of a former Oklahoma co-star on campus. And in fact, his first play was Oklahoma, by Rodgers and Hammerstein. I can take a beat and listen to the sound. While attending Yale's Graduate School of Drama with classmates such as Sigourney Weaver and Meryl Streep, it was quite the training ground. His incredible body of work on stage with theaters include the Baltimore Center Stage, the Indiana Repertory, the Mark Taper Forum Theater. He won an Obie Award and the Drama Lounge Award for outstanding performance for his performance in the play The Real Thing. His dedication to the craft was absolute and faithful, not merely a run-of-the-mill fling. In 1973, he started his career by working in 3 seasons at the Actors Theater of Louisville. And later he performed in TV movies such as A Girl Named Sooner and Dream House. Fast forward a while, he worked on a short film entitled Our Father, in which he played a man with dementia, late-stage Alzheimer's, which I thought was fascinating. When television came knocking on his door, his life's journey would include an absolutely beautiful twist that was anything but imaginary. He goes to California to do a TV series and meets the woman he would marry. A blessing, because when he auditioned for a college play, the director would become the best man at his wedding. And when he worked on said television series, he met his wife. Perhaps that was the great success of Family Ties, as it led him to a whole different place in his life. Yes, we all remember him for his co-starring multi-layered performance on Family Ties as Stephen Keaton. He was kind to those who approached him in public, even when he was eaten. My mentor, Richard Donner, was a fan of his work. To know the person is the true treat. Very soon he will be on screen, as you will be able to greet and meet a human being that is quite complete. He lent us his creative heartbeat, because honest storytelling is immune to defeat. His work on not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but 7 Tremor films are a testament to his incredible range. The first came right off the heels of the season finale of Family Ties, with very little time to arrange. But that isn't strange, as portraying diverse characters is the lifeblood of any storyteller. Good writing begets artistic liberation. It is quite the exchange. He's an incredible artist, and even became a partner in an actual railroad. But as for this rhyming session, it's arrivederci, goodbye, and adios. So put your hands together for a kind, talented, one-of-a-kind human being. First name Michael, last name Gross. Welcome, my friend, to the green room.
Thank you so much. That is the finest rhymed eulogy I've ever heard in my life.
No. I'm glad you are here, my friend. No eulogies. No.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You deserve it. There's so many people that can attest to the fact that, we know the cardinal rule, and I know it as well. Sometimes you're eating dinner and you want a little privacy, but the way you would approach people the reputation you have, which is something I really admire, you would let them know, let me just finish my dinner, and it takes 2 seconds to make someone happy. It may be a moment that they remember forever. You epitomize that kind of class and generosity, and I appreciate that in you.
How do you know all this stuff?
We're in the same industry. But no, Michael, it is very becoming of you, and I think that's it speaks highly of who you are, and you've always been able to retain your humanity. And since tonight's theme is family, you really do put your family first. Now it's about not missing the games and being a part of the grandkids, and that's a really special thing, Michael.
It's a wonderful thing. It's a blessing, and I waited a long time to get there because I married late in my life. That is to say, 37 years of age, my first marriage, and I was not good marriage material for a long time, and quite frankly, I still wasn't when I married this woman, but she's put up with me for all these years, and I've straightened out.
God almighty. Part of the she was part of the negotiation process also back during the
exactly. So we're 40 years together, and she's a very patient human being.
Michael, I have to ask you this again. I know that sounds cliche. We're all winners here because it is true. We learn from one another. We greet one another. Even a smile can last a lifetime. But at the end of the day, would you like to win this entire tournament, my friend?
Why not? I've been to Greece once. I'd love to see it again.
I love it. Guys, the great Michael Gross, the great Dan Jansen, who I'm about to bring in now, and Mike Rotunda, incredible human beings you're seeing here before you. We met backstage, of course, in the green room, guys, and we'll start off with topic number 1. Let's get this thing started right now, guys and gals. Remember, you can vote after topic number 1, and the judges, when they're voting as well, it's simultaneous. So when they're voting, you guys in the comment section can vote as well. Thank you again. 6-figure views across 53 pages total. We appreciate what you've made this. Wholeheartedly thank you, guys and gals and pals, for allowing us to be in your living room. So with that, topic number 1. Locker room co-star, because as far as film genres goes, the buddy comedy, which is almost as old as the medium itself, it's consistently entertained audiences as a straightforward and fun way to examine friendships and bonding. And with their beginnings in American cinema, comedic duos like Laurel and Hardy, Abbott and Costello, they were early definers of the genre's success. But through the decades, we saw other partners like Bing Crosby, Bob Hope, Dean Martin, Jerry Lewis. But since the 70s, the buddy comedy has gone beyond straight genre formula. It incorporates elements of road movies, action films. Think Silver Streak with Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder. Think Rush Hour, Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker. Think Thelma and Louise, Gina Davis and Susan Sarandon. There's something that happens when we start to align fiction and reality. We don't just create good examples of bonding, we give room to unheard voices. So guys and gals, right now, we're going to kick it off first to Mr. Michael Gross, who will kindly explain which former co-star of yours would make the ideal co-star alongside yourself in a buddy road cop trip comedy. You can explain, guys and gals and pals, Mr. Michael will explain why he selected the person that he did, along with the title of the film that you would co-star in. It could be anyone from any dressing room, anyone that you've ever interacted with professionally or creatively. Mr. Gross, are you ready to go, good sir?
Let's go for it. And Mike and Dan, good to have you here. Nice to see you.
You too.
The floor is yours, my friend.
So, all right. For my ideal buddy co-star, and I thought about a lot of people because I worked with a lot of people over the past 5 decades. I am choosing the late actor Fred Ward. Fred, I worked with in both Tremors 1, Tremors 2, Aftershocks, and a 1988 feature film entitled Big Business with Bette Midler and Lily Tomlin. So I've worked with a number of people, but I worked with Fred 3 different times. I have some familiarity with him, feel at home with him, and very much appreciate what he has to offer. Among which was great in talent, intuition, and intelligence. And he was as adept at comedy as he was with serious material. On the set and in the working process, he asked the right questions, found a way to make things work, was a great collaborator with both cast and crew, and took the work, but never himself too seriously. I'm also choosing Fred because we're physically very different types. Fred had been in his life a boxer, a lumberjack, a janitor, a short order cook, among other things. He was also part Cherokee. Fred looked seasoned,
rough around the edges, so to speak, very much a man's man. And though I did my share of blue collar work in my youth, in print shops, factories, the railroad, and yes, janitoring, like Fred, I was never a lumberjack because I did not live in that part of the world, and I was never a boxer because I always felt my face was imperfect enough as it was, and I didn't need any further rearranging. Fred looked the outdoor type, and whereas I never had that kind of craggy, weather-beaten look, and always looked more at home indoors than out. I think buddy comedies always work best when partners are somewhat mismatched, both physically, as Fred and I were, and emotionally, because it's an immediate source of comic conflict when somebody they just look at life differently. Not only do they have to deal with obstacles they encounter in the course of the action, but they have to the obstacles they encounter between themselves and their different way of looking at things. I like buddy comedies inhabited by an unlikely pair who have to find a way to get along, if only to complete the job at hand. So, anyway, with Fred and I as the buddies, I'm titling our film with reference to the Latin phrase non sequitur, which literally means it doesn't follow, and which has generally come to denote something that does not follow reasonably or logically from something that preceded it. So in our case, our title is a play on words, as I call the film, ready for this, non sequitur, because for most of the piece, Fred Ward and I would, in our attempt to evade the law for some past criminal transgression, we would be disguised as Catholic nuns. Non sequitur. And we road trip our way through the US of A, meeting people from all parts of the country and all walks of life who are fascinated, intrigued by two of the largest, most unattractive brides of Christ they have ever met. I'm trying to imagine after a long day on the road, shadow, nature, needing to find all. The film, I think we might call ourselves the Sisters of Perpetuity. Unfortunately, 2020.
Might be
worked with him again, but unfortunately, I've lost that chance forever. 3 times it had to be. But no doubt he passed away as a way to escape having to work with me again. In as cockamamie sequitur would have ended both our careers. So that's pretty much it.
Thank you so much, Michael. Some technical issues there, but we were able to hear everything you said, my friend, and I appreciate that. Can you hear us? Michael Gross? Not sure if you can hear us, sir. Guys and gals, we could hear everything Michael said. We'll try to sign in again. Again, this is the same question, guys and gals and pals who are watching and commenting. Thank you again to Mr. Ferrigno, who's commenting. Thank you, Lou Ferrigno. He's in round 2. The same question now will be posed to Mr. Mike. If you could explain which former colleague of yours that you shared either a locker room with would make the ideal co-star, along with yourself, in a buddy road trip comedy, you could explain why you selected the person that you have, along with the title of the film that you would co-star in. Please, the floor is yours to go, good sir.
Okay. You went over my background, Avi, with all the great people I got to play ball with and wrestle with. And I'd like to throw in there Gronk's dad, Gordy Gronkowski, as well. He was my roommate during football camp. I believe it was my sophomore year, and he was a freshman. So I got to know him and later got to produce a match that Gronk was involved in with WWE. And I had a unique situation because of wrestling. I also played baseball in high school, and it was probably my best sport. But anyways, I had a unique thing, you know, having to be with so many different types of athletes, as far as football players or wrestling or baseball teams. And I can tell you this, it was always the craziest things you ever did when you were in a wrestling, you know, on a wrestling road trip or whatever. Wrestlers are just a different breed within themselves. And one of the guys that I really think that was funny, and we had a lot of great times together. And it's interesting also because you're spending 200, 250 days a year on the road if you're teamed with somebody, you know, all over the place, and flying, driving, whatever. I can remember the guy that I was thinking about would be make a good comedy movie is the guy by the name of Rick Steiner, who was a Michigan All-American wrestler. His brother was an All-American, Scott Steiner, as well, with Michigan. And we had a team in WCW called the Varsity Club. So it was kind of a unique thing also, because normally in the wrestling business, if you had an amateur background, you would be a babyface, a good guy, and you do the All-American type thing. And Dusty Rhodes put it together for us, and we were heels. We were the bad guys, and it was so easy to get heat because everybody, you know, is affiliated with where they live and their university, and you would basically say, you know, that if you're in Southern California, you know, USC is a great school, but I went to a real university, being Syracuse University, where you actually had to learn how to read and write. So right away they'd hate you, you know, so it was easy. But I had a lot of interesting road trips with Steiner. I'll give you an example. One day we were in the Washington, D.C. area, and we were in like 4 o'clock traffic, 6 lanes of traffic. And we're driving along, and his brother, Scott Steiner, Rick's brother, was in the back, and he was real into bodybuilding, so he basically ate chicken all the time and ate green apples and slept basically on the way to the wrestling match. So we're driving down the road, and I'm kind of in the middle of, say, 5 or 6 lanes of traffic. Just everybody's going pretty good, but there's nowhere to wiggle to get over to the left or right. And Steiner looks up on the dash, and I had some of those like dehydrated, sun-kissed raisins that are like dried out in the red packages. And Rick goes, "Hey, can I have some of those raisins?" And I said, "Yeah, I don't care." So of course he takes the 2 boxes of the raisins, rips the top off the raisins, and goes and shovels them down his throat. So we're driving along, and all of a sudden he starts, you know, making all these noises. And I go, "You okay, Steiner?" And he's like doing it again, getting worse. And I go, "I don't know if I can get over to the side. Are you choking?" And he started choking worse. And finally, Scott Steiner, his brother, sits up and he goes, "What's the matter?" And I said, "Your brother's choking on the raisins." And Scott goes, "Well, take him away from him." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? This is like something out of Dumb and Dumber, you know?" And I mean, there is always these situations like that with, you know, being on the road as much as we were, they were countless. So my idea would be, if I was going to do a ride along type movie, to do a lot of different stuff like that. And, you know, stuff that a lot of it actually happened, and call it Varsity Club Hits the Road, starring Rick Steiner and myself.
Can I please write that and pitch that to the studio, please?
Hey, there's only one catch to that, Avi. I don't want to play myself because I don't want Steiner hitting me. I had him and I were partners, and I'm in a single match. So I know he is in the single match. So I'm outside the ring, and I hooked this guy, and the guy's supposed to move, and he hits me, right?
Sure.
Well, the guy moved, and Steiner reaches through the ropes and kicked me in the neck so hard, I had to go to the damn to the doctor and get my neck fixed. I mean, it was like killing me.
And that was to get
my
someone.
partner.
That's your partner. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, that's my partner.
So. To know if he was your opponent on the other side of the ring there. Mike, I got to say this is pretty neat because when you did retire and back to living a life as a parent, you owned your own business, the Main Street Auto Store in Brooksville, and had a security company because it allowed you to make your own hours, keep tabs on the kids' sport. And that must have been fulfilling to be able to do that.
Yeah, it was. Actually, I worked for my father-in-law. We started a used car business, but then I went to work. My father-in-law, Blackjack Mulligan, had a bigger one, and I ran that for almost 2.5, almost 3 years. And then later I went back to WWE to produce, and I did that for almost 13 years after. But yeah, it was, and my kids were, my oldest boy, Wyndham, who became Bray Wyatt, and obviously, he's passed in this past year, and it's been really hard on our family. And my younger son, Taylor, and our daughter, Micah, I got to be around a lot more, when they became teens and started playing more and more sports, which the boys were very good in football. Wyndham was a state champ, and Taylor probably most likely would have won the states his senior year. He tore his shoulder, and he tore his shoulder pinning the guy that won the states, and Taylor had beat him 3 times that year.
Wow.
So, I mean, and my daughter was athletic as well with volleyball and different sports and softball. So yeah, it was nice. And my wife, she did run a security company through her brother-in-law, like a satellite company, but she's been a real estate broker in the town we live in now, in like on the Nature Coast, Florida, about an hour north of Tampa, a small town called Brooksville. But it's grown out here like crazy, just as the rest of Florida has. And my wife's been doing that for probably 10 years. So she does very well at, her brokership, and my daughter works underneath her as well. So, yeah.
I love how you guys had that plan.
Yeah, it's a blessing. My wife is a mover and shaker, and she gets stuff done. So,
I mean, that's what I liked is that when you guys purchased that the 10 acres in Hernando County and to build a home there, that established the small town roots of all 3 of your children, essentially.
Right. And that was a big part of my wife's thinking, because I grew up in upstate New York. My family all lived there. My cousins lived there. My mom lived in that house that we lived in for 75 years. But Steph, my wife, is Barry Windham, his brother, and Kendall Windham, her brothers, both wrestled. Her dad was Blackjack Mulligan. So they moved around, and she said they were lucky if they spent 6 months in any one town. They lived in Boston, California, Texas, Tennessee. I mean, pretty much everywhere, Indianapolis. So it was very important to my wife that when we got our kids to be or started school age, that we weren't going to move. And now we know everybody in Brooksville, and it's been, really good, and people are good people there. So it's been pretty cool raising our family there.
Yeah, and that's the word, family. And I wanted to tell our guests and also our judges and everyone watching in attendance who are commenting live, the theme tonight is family, as you can hear from Mr. Mike Rotunda and Mr. Dan Jansen, and Mr. Michael Gross, who is having a technical issue right now, as you saw, trying to restart, see if we can get him back in. Guys and gals, not just an Olympian, but a man who has done so much for his family. Mr. Dan Jansen will hopefully explain which former colleague of his that he shared a locker room with would make the ideal co-star alongside yourself in a buddy road trip comedy. If you could explain the person and the title of the film that you would co-star in. Are you ready to go, good sir?
I'm ready. So mine is, it's an interesting one. So my co-star, I'll describe both of us and then you'll understand. My co-star happened to have been my coach. His name's Peter Miller. Pete won a gold medal in 1976, and coincidentally, the very same race that I was to win gold in 1994. He was when I first made the U.S. national team, he was coach then, although albeit young. He only about 10, 12 years older than I. But and then went away to coach other countries, other skaters. By my request and a couple others, we brought him back for the last 3 years of my career. So he ended up being my first and last coach internationally. But to understand Pete, he's he's a very interesting character. He is unbelievable coach, unbelievable motivator. He makes it fun to train. He makes it fun to hurt. You know, you look forward to training every day, even though it's brutal sometimes. He, I believe, has made every skater he's ever coached better. And that's from my perspective. That's from my teammates' perspective, and many, many other countries he's coached. He comes with a downside, however, and I love Pete to death, and he would probably agree with what I'm about to say. But his downside is he doesn't do well with authority. So he is truly his own person. He just believes that it has to be done this way, whether there's rules or not, and this is the way it's going to be done. Now, that's easy, but it's not so easy when you have federations that need to follow rules and so forth. And so what's happened over Pete's career is that after a couple years, he'll go in and he'll get hired by a national federation from whatever country it is, and he will make these skaters better, and he'll make them strong, and they do very well. And after 2 to 3 years, somehow Pete is gone because he doesn't follow the rules, because the federations just can't handle him. So that is that character. So I'm the other character, which as you said, Avi, in the intro, I'm the youngest of 9 kids. My dad was a police officer. 2 brothers were cops, 3 brother-in-laws, nephews, cops. Like, I just was brought up to follow rules, and and not in a very super strict way, but you know, these are the rules, and they're there for a reason, right? And so, so I'm sort of that guy. I like to have fun, don't get me wrong, but within bounds, within limits. And so my sitcom, if you will, would be titled, and I'm stealing it, but you know, how many times have titles been used again? Would be The Odd Couple. And Pete and I would be, you know, coaching, or let's say we coach the younger generation, and it would all be things that have happened. Literally, for instance, Pete, the Olympic Games, you know, he's out there on the ice coaching me and our team, but you know, of course, we're all wearing USA and our uniforms and so forth, and Pete's got a jean jacket on. You know, he's on the ice coaching us with a jean jacket, and is just his way of being a rebel, I guess. But again, I love him to death. I always will. So I just thought it would be a fun road trip. And if it were a sitcom of sorts, it would be The Odd Couple. It would be, you know, us doing press conferences and Pete saying whatever he says, and me kind of cringing and then having to follow up and saying, this is what this is what we really mean. Things like that. It's just, it makes me laugh thinking about it, because he will be forever, you know, one of the most important people in my life. And yet he's rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. But again, I love him like a brother / father, and I always will. But this was a tough one, but that's kind of what I came up with for this first question.
Cool. I think the funniest stories are the ones you can't get through when you're telling them. So I mean, I could see you, like Mike and Dan. When Dan was speaking, I don't know if you caught this, I could see Dan reliving everything. So as he's reliving it, it's like, how can you not? And plus, you're here live, so it's like, but I could tell that you were cracking up inside. Man, and speaking of being inside, when you grew up, man, oh man, sometimes a lot of people in your area were inside during those cold winters. What I found to be interesting is that your parents would spend their weekends driving you all over the Midwest, up to Minnesota, down to Chicago, over into Michigan, to all those little towns in Wisconsin. And, your dad really worked and worked and worked to make sure that, he was with you guys when you were doing your thing on the weekends. Is that right?
Yeah, it sure is. And it's, look, every parent, and even today, you're driving your kids everywhere to all their sports. But in our situation with 9 kids and my dad being a police officer, my mom being a nurse, we had no money. We never knew we had no money, but we didn't. And they were, not only did he work that plus another part-time job or 2, but then weekends they would drive us wherever we had to go, other states, just for these, and freeze, by the way, just cold,
Right.
These cold places. Then it was all outdoors or skating outdoors and freezing. But, the sacrifices they made, just, as we all have amazing parents, right? And they've made sacrifices for all of us. And it's, we're here because of them.
It's incredible. Yeah, your mom, who's a nurse as well, who traveled with you guys on the weekends, just incredible. Family bonds. And I love how a lot of people here are typing, yeah, I can relate. Guys, I'm trying to make sure that we all realize that we're not different. I will not be on a soapbox, but remember, if people want this to be divisive, don't allow them. It's a choice. You don't have to allow people to allow us to think that we're different than one another. We're not. We all try to pay our dues. We all have ambitions. We all strive for something. And as you can see, Dan and Mike rolled up their sleeves. They loved something. They went for it. They had a good support system. That's something that I can definitely stand behind. Guys and gals and pals, of course I could stand behind that because my job is easy. I'm not voting right now. How can you vote on this, Mr. Mike Rotunda?
Yeah, can I intervene 1 second?
Please.
Dan, my mom was one of 11 children.
Nice.
And
wow.
And her dad was a farmer. And like I said, we had enough sports teams. Her brother lived down the road from us out in the country. We had lived on 180 acres of land, and he had 11 kids. So wow. we had sports teams, and my other cousins lived next door, 2 boys and a girl. So whatever season it was, and I don't care, in the middle of the winter, freezing in upstate New York, we were out in the barn playing basketball, playing baseball, playing football, whatever, before internet, and there was three channels on the TV, and your dad controlled that. So you just stayed outside. So
exactly. Same here.
Which is why you couldn't catch when you grew up, Mike. You couldn't catch pro wrestling because it came on late on a Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about it, and when I was a senior in college, guy Dick Byers spoke at our wrestling banquet, and he had just returned from a long run in Japan. He was over there like 8 years and was very famous. And he approached me at the banquet, and he said, "You're interested in getting into pro wrestling, kid?" And I go, I said, "Can you make money?" And then he goes, "I do pretty good." And so he told me to graduate and then call him, and I did. And he ended up taking me to Germany with him and trained me 2 weeks and said, "I'll see you at Christmas." This was in September. So I go, "Wow, okay,
sure." That's pretty incredible. And then, and then prior to that, of course, paying dues. I mean, working in his house where he had all these memorabilia things in his basement and just doing all that. And you're like, I
had an old Dodge 66 pickup truck my dad bought off of construction, his company, and it was all banged up, but it didn't have many miles on it. It was a work truck, and they trade them out. So I would drive that up to Buffalo, which is about 3.5 hours from where I grew up, 50 miles an hour hit, and it was like riding in a stage truck. And he'd have me moving furniture from one house to the next because he bought 3 houses, and he was going to decide which one he liked the best. So I would move furniture and then go back home and stay a couple weeks, go back up.
I swear to you, Mike, this story I'm about to give you that's real brief is nothing like what you have to go through. And I understand that, but I brought up Richard Donner, who was my mentor. He directed Superman, Goonies, Lethal Weapon franchise. Great director, great human being. He was my Mr. Miyagi. Probably the second or third meeting we had, he gives me a script. He says, "Here, I revised what you wrote." I asked him why. He goes, "Because what you wrote stunk." I said, what'd you do with my first one? He says, open your bag. I opened my bag and there was a ripped script. He ripped it up completely and probably in 2 or 3 different pieces. I said, why did you have to rip that up? He goes, to save you from mediocrity.
Wow.
But 2 years later, again, taught me how to write, not just creatively. He kept telling me, you have to write for investors. And I go, what do you mean? They didn't teach us at school. He goes, investors will look at your script and they'll see a lot of exterior scenes, outdoor scenes. And those are tougher to shoot. So they're thinking money. They're thinking it's going to be a lot more difficult to be able to work around exterior scenes. Put more interiors. If you're a young writer out there listening too, more interior scenes in your script will not scare away the investors. So I'm thinking to myself, like you did with The Destroyer, and like Dan with one of his mentors, who I want to bring up in a moment as well. It's so interesting how we can remember those things, because back then we probably wanted to rip their heads off, and years later, we're like, they really saved us from us.
Right.
No doubt.
Incredible stuff here. Guys, right now, I do want to bring in our judges, Mr. Mark Henry, Mr. Magnum TA, Mr. Rock Richards. I'm going to bring in Mr. TA first, Terry Allen, who, again, thank you for joining us tonight in the second round of this tournament. Guys, Magnum TA went up against Lenny Wilkins, a 3-time Hall of Famer in round number 1. What an incredible matchup that was. Mr. Magnum TA is in round number 2. Magnum, was this difficult to try to decide who you're voting on? How can you vote on these personal stories that resonate with us? Would you agree?
Stories are amazing, and because Mike and I share such a common thread with all the personalities involved, it's really easy for me to relate to what he's saying. Because to your point, he and Rick Steiner would be there was such just free-flowing comedy available just being in the presence of Rick Steiner. I had the pleasure of doing some interviewing with him, and it was like an Abbott and Costello, routine. It was just brilliant, and so that having those personal experiences makes me like a little tainted, because of my understanding. But when I look at the overall task that you asked of each of these folks, I think Michael has a little advantage in this, just personally. And what he laid out was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, to support every single element of why and the wherefore and why his premise was what it was. I think he had a little unfair advantage, even though he had a little technical difficulties there at the end. But his case was so well represented on every level. Very hard to deny that he had every element of it covered professionally, expressed well, and so for me, even though I have the passion for both these gentlemen and relate to the athletic background and the personalities involved, I just can't deny the words and the way Michael laid out, his whole scenario. It was just perfect.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Great storytelling from all. Mr. Magnum TA, one of the greatest storytellers of all time as well. Thank you, Mr. Magnum TA. We're going to bring you right back right after topic number 2, my friend.
Sounds great.
All right. Thank you so much. Giselle is tallying in the back. Thank you for tallying. Guys and gals, Mr. Hall of Famer himself, a legendary human being, a legendary talent, who always will be direct and honest. Mark, very, very tough right now in these later stages of round 1. We're at the 11th hour of round 1. Round 2 is going to start in the spring, the long-awaited second round of this tournament. As we've delved deeper into this tournament, Mark, you've been there since the beginning. Right now, we're getting very personal, very deep, very positive, which makes it tougher to essentially judge this, right, Mark? Oh, I can't hear you, good sir. I think there might be. Can you guys hear Mark Henry, guys?
No.
Okay,
Nope.
That's okay. You might just refresh. That might work, I think. Perhaps. Yeah, guys, Mark Henry sitting here in the back. It's tough. He has to assess. He's taking notes. Magnum TA's taking notes. Not easy to be able to do this. Mr. Rock Richards, I'm going to bring you up next. I saw you taking notes as well, good sir.
Yeah, Avi, I just want to say, man, all 3 of these gentlemen, they were captivating. They grabbed my attention. They held it. Mr. Gross, he kind of figuratively, I felt like he pulled me in next to his fire and was just reading a story to me, almost like a fairy tale. I mean, that's the kind of imagery that I got. Then Mr. Rotunda, I mean, telling those stories, obviously I'm a little bit biased on the subject matter myself, but it was almost like the clicks on that roller coaster ride as it's going up, and I'm getting more and more excited. I really want to ride that ride. I want to see where that goes. And then with Mr. Jansen, I mean, I don't want to drop any name brands, but there's certain channels that I catch my wife watching on TV. I mean, the story was so heartfelt. I mean, it was like a script that could write itself. And I think for that reason, I think Mr. Jansen's going to get my vote this time.
Mr. Rock Richards voting for Dan Jansen. Thank you, Rock. Appreciate that. Guys, our judges always providing us with a thorough analysis. Mr. Mark Henry.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Yes.
All right.
I was asking you that because I wanted to get your opinion on this. Do you find it to be more difficult now? Because you've graced this with your presence many a times. Again, consider you one of my best friends. You've been in the green room since the beginning. But is it tougher now to judge these things?
It's not. I mean, storytelling is storytelling. And, creating a plot twist or an interaction between two characters is the foundation of writing. And,
right.
Man, Michael Gross, he went out at the end, but the communication, the way he communicated to all of us that he wanted it to be something where it was contrast in the look as well as the personalities of the characters, and he just put together a framework that was really, really incredible to me. And then on the other hand, like I'm around pro wrestlers like every day, right. And if I don't talk to one, I see one, and I have to watch 16 hours of pro wrestling a week to report on it.
Wow.
For my Sirius XM gig.
Sure.
And I know the Steiners, so when Mike Rotunda is saying this total oblivious funny, that is Rick and Scott. I ask you, please do yourself a favor and go on the internet after the show,
right,
and pull up Rick Steiner math and listen to Rick talk about this mathematical equation will have you in stitches. And his brother was more the oblivious one. It was like, right. I'm not going to say who this guy is, but I had some really, really strong Castile soap, and the soap has lye in it. And I gave him this soap, and I said, listen, make sure you dilute it. It could burn your skin. So fast forward a couple hours, the show is over. He showers, and he puts the soap directly on his skin. And it's heating up like if you pour bleach on yourself. You know how if you pour bleach on your skin, it'll make you feel hot?
Sure.
So that's what his whole body is doing, because he's put the soap all over
himself.
Oh,
my God.
And now he runs out of the shower trying to fight me, thinking that I ribbed him, that I played a joke on him. And I said, I told you to dilute it. And he went, what does dilute mean? That is the Steiners. And it's an unbelievable thing. So both guys, and listen, man, being an Olympic athlete, I can say, Mr. Jansen, I feel your pain and your trouble with your coaches, because all of my coaches were different. They all had their quirky ways, and I found a lot of humor. I mocked them still today. All three stories were compelling.
100%.
But if I had to pick one, which I do, I would have to go with Michael Gross, even though he went out. Just the visual, the picture that he painted in my head made me want to see it. It made me want to hear more about it. And then his Wi-Fi went out.
Oh, right. Right there at
gave
the
us a
end. Right there.
cliffhanger.
Yeah, what a cliffhanger that was. But you're right. All three men were able to illustrate something so special and authentic. But, Mark, I want to leave you with this before topic number 2 begins. Topic number 2 is a really fun one. You're going to make me do something I dreaded to do as a kid on a Saturday night. I'm going to type the word math on my computer right after this and watch that Rick Steiner promo. I don't know about math. You know what? Rick Steiner and math, I never would. I'm going to do that right now, right after this show's over, and figure out what this is all about. Mike Rotunda looks like he knows what Mark Henry's talking about, too. Yeah. I can tell. Mike, should I YouTube that, Mike?
Sure. You can't lose if you're watching Steiner. Trust me.
I love it. I love it, guys.
They were money, and sometimes by accident.
Man, oh, man. The best way that you can show someone respect and love is you got to rib them. That's what friendship's all about. So I totally get that. Guys, Mr. Mark Henry, who, again, on a Saturday night here on February the 3rd, 2024, on the 175th consecutive episode of the Green Room in the Celebrity Grand Tournament, is here. He rendered his vote. I will bring you in momentarily, good sir. Mr. Mark Henry, guys. Now you're going to vote. All of you guys are voting right now in the comment section. We move on to topic number 2. We're moving and chugging along right here. Michael Gross is having internet issues. He texts me again. Upset, not at himself, upset at the internet because he's trying his very best to sign in. We will see what happens here. Right now, let's Elise votes for Dan Jansen and The Odd Couple. That is the title of his new screenplay. The Odd Couple. I like it. We should have a few odd couples every few decades, right? I agree with that. Mindy votes for Mr. Michael Gross. Appreciate that. McKenna concurs and says it has to be Michael Gross. Non sequitur. I need to see it. Okay. Christopher says, what a great conversation. All three men did so well, but my vote goes to Dan. Thank you so much for that. Lewis votes Michael Gross. Leah says Michael Gross. Okay. We have Larry voting for Mr. Mike Rotunda. We have a lot for Dan coming in. Antoine votes Dan. Cheryl says Dan the man. I think that's a vote. I'll count that as a vote. Lester Cook says Dan. Okay. And then John Red votes Dan. So that's 4 straight for Mr. Dan Jansen here as we do it live. Julie says Mike gets my vote. Very good. Okay. It's so hard to vote for this one. Brian says, I'm thinking maybe I should vote for Mark Henry on this one. But Michael Gross gets my vote. Jeff Reeder Jr. votes for Mike Rotunda. Thank you very much, Jeff. We appreciate that. Mike Elkins and guys and gals in the comment section. You guys are amazing with your comments, too. Thank you. Really intelligent, brief, to the point comments that I'm reading here that really resonate. Chad says he votes for Michael Gross. Ed Hauser votes for Dan Jansen. Got it. Ramon votes for Michael Gross. Okay. And then Shaquila Daniels votes for Mr. Rotunda. Thank you so much. And Caitlin Rodriguez concurs. Guys, again, a lot on the line. 13,000 trip for 2 to Greece, 5 days and 5 nights. And maybe perhaps the pot will increase in round number 2. If a certain someone I'm talking to isn't stingy, let's increase that pot. All right, Dan Jansen. Cheryl Bradley votes for Dan Jansen. And Mike Rotunda gets a vote from Andrew Red III. Michaela Red says, I think they're all good, but Mike has to get my vote. He was very clear. Very cool. Very cool. And Julie Redding at the buzzer votes for Dan Jansen. Let's count this thing down. Rosita Red votes for Mike. Okay. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. There's a 5 and a 4. You know there's a 3 and a 2 and a 1, and there's a 0. So, guys and gals and pals, round number 1 is over. Topic number 2 is before us. Let's kick it off. Topic number 2, guys and gals and pals, is something I call vacation with history. All right, imagine this. Imagine. You've set the coordinates. The old DeLorean from Back to the Future is ready to go. You know where you're going. You know when you're going to. But here's the catch. You're already in history. You're somewhere in the past, anywhere. Which historical figure would you like to have accompany to visit someone who's no longer alive in present time? Who will you both be visiting? When and why? There's always historical figures around us. And in this case, they're right there in the physical sense. Mike and Dan will select one historical figure to accompany them on a very important voyage. They will be visiting someone that meant a lot to them at any point in their life. They could be visiting a father, friend, brother, child, uncle, grandparent, teacher, anyone. They could be visiting them when they were children, adults. They have the time machine. Mike and Dan. Which historical figure accompanies you on this trip? Why did you select them? And B, who, where, and when will the two of you be visiting? And why? At what point in your life? You'll have as much time as you would like. Guys and gals and pals who are listening and watching, Mr. Mike Rotunda will go first. Are you ready to go, good sir?
Yes, sir.
Floor is yours.
This maybe get a little emotional for me. I would go back in the time when Jesus Christ was being crucified. And first of all, I would try to help him in any way possibly that I could. And I would ask him to come with me back to early 2023 to save my son's life. If he possibly could tell me anything I could have done or our family could have done to save my 36-year-old son from passing away of a heart attack. And like I said, it's 2023 was and I hate to be a downer, but 2023 for myself and our whole family was, I lost my mom, 86 years old. I was up in New York and she had a stroke and was in a nursing home for 2.5 months and 3 months, and she passed away in the nursing home. A week later, we lost Wyndham, Bray Wyatt, the Fiend. And, you know, some people, if you're not a Christian, might go, that's never going to happen. But to me, it's worth being a Christian to hopefully one day see our son again. And that's it.
Thank you, Mike. On behalf of all our viewers as well, deepest condolences and love to you and your family, always. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Dan, the floor is yours any way you'd like.
Yeah. I will start by saying the same to you, Mike. Condolences, and thank you for sharing.
To you as well. To you
Thank
as well.
you. Here's the interesting thing, Avi, for those of viewers or listeners. You know, they may or may not know out there. You contact us, and we get about a week these questions, and they're great questions, and they require thought and honesty and everything. So I got these questions the same time Mike did, and I'll tell you my answer. The person that the historical figure I chose was also Jesus Christ. You know, kind of as Mike said, look, I was never one of those athletes to finish and say to the camera, praise Jesus and do all this. I have my own way of doing that, and that's personal. I can do that. I just never felt, and so what I'm saying to you is don't judge us one way or another for our beliefs. Okay. So I'll start with that, but I chose Jesus Christ because many of you know, many of you don't know, I guess. The person that we would visit would be my sister Jane. Just a year prior to my second Olympic Games, 1988, Jane is the youngest of my 5 sisters. She was diagnosed. She just had her third daughter. She was diagnosed with leukemia, and she fought hard, and she lost her battle. And just coincidentally, it was on the very same day of the race that I was favored to win gold in the Olympic Games in 1988, 500 meters. I, along with my family, decided to race that day. It didn't go the way we or any of us had planned. I won the world championship 7 days before, 1 week before, and I fell that night. I fell again 4 days later in the 1,000 meters, and it didn't happen. And but that's not, the story. My point is, what I would go back to is with Jesus Christ, I would go back to that year when Jane was diagnosed. I would go back to visit her, and I would go back and ask him if he could make us understand, make her understand, and then make us understand why this might somehow be better than her, seeing her 3 baby girls grow up, who, by the way, have grown into amazing young ladies. Jane was 27 when she passed, 26 at diagnosis. Never got to see that. And my daughters are older than that now. And so I just, we all, maybe we don't really want to know the answers, but sometimes we do. It would just be interesting to ask. And so when I saw this question, that was the first thing that popped into my mind. When Mike started speaking, I thought, wow, okay, we are on the same page here. And so that would be who I would choose. That would be who I would visit. And maybe there are no answers. We may never find out. I just hope and pray to him that that she's better off, because she missed a darn good life here, and so we hope it's better.
What you both did now was allow us to get to know your sister Dan and your son Mike in ways we never would have before. And don't get me wrong, I'd rather we didn't know them so that they could still be here, of course. But we know their name, and I want to thank you guys for epitomizing what really it hits me home too with loss recently. But so bear with me. But for you guys being able to talk so openly about people you love is great. But how great is it to know that there's footage and there's interviews and there's documentation of how much love you gave them when they were here. You were a coach to him, Mike, and you were a father, and you were a friend, and you were his guide. And Dan, the way you would talk about your sister way before she was diagnosed with leukemia in 87, like the way you would always revere your siblings, like that's the beauty of it. So you love them in life. The person I lost kept telling me, and I'm going to be very honest, Avi, I want you to visit me. And in my mind, the mind says yes. The heart says yes. The body said no. I didn't go. I feel like a jerk. And I'm on my butt all day about that. But you guys gave them so much love when they were in life. And that's beautiful. I would always tell my students, if no one's ever around to witness anything you've done, would you still do it? And you guys would wholeheartedly do it and did do it without the cameras, without the pomp and circumstance, because you guys are real. And that really speaks to me. So I want to tell you that from the heart. And I want to set a precedence if we can. I'm going to bring in the judges now if I can, if they don't mind. We've never done this. I want to see what they think about this. So I want to bring in Mr. Mark Henry, Mr. Magnum TA, Mr. Rock. We have one more topic to go. Is it okay with you guys? It's on your vote. Is it okay if we do not vote on this topic? We've never done that before in the history of the celebrity tournament.
I love that.
That's but I voice an opinion.
Sure.
Dan, you said that this is a hypothetical situation, but you said that we won't know, because that won't happen, and I'd have to tell you that you're wrong. We are going to see whether we're on the right side or the wrong side. It's inevitable. It's in the word. It's going to happen. We'll be all the questions. We'll be able to see all of those people in that we lost. We all have. And man, there's some people I can't wait to see. I don't want to know right now, but I can't wait. And we all gonna embrace them and be able to have the closure that we really need, and it's not gonna be painful. So don't 1 second. The pain right now is us missing them. But think about if they're with Jesus, they're the happiest that they ever was. They're not. Mom is not in pain. The sister is not in pain fighting that cancer. Bray's heart perfect. Like everything is where it's supposed to be. God's got a plan of us, and guys, just know that peace is going to come. The Bible says it's come in the morning, but it's going to come whenever. That peace is coming.
I agree. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate that.
Very welcome.
That's beautiful, man. And it made me think. I don't think I ever thought of it that way until you just brought it up. Yeah, I'm having like a real moment here where it's all these thoughts percolating. Magnum, you and I always talk about our faith as well. I'm blown away by what Mark Henry said, and so grateful for the story that Dan and Mike shared with us, Magnum.
Thank you.
The truth. You know, so many twisted tales today, but both these men chose a path that speaks to the truth, the one and only truth. And we can't measure this as a round because, you know, there is only one winner. Jesus has already won the round, won the battle, won it all for all of us. And you know, to hear the truth come from both of them in seeking for the pain that again, we're living in this broken world and these broken bodies and all the pains in this world, and our loved ones that are no longer with us are not in this and not in that.
Amen.
They are restored. They're where we all want to be.
Yeah.
And there is no tears. There is no sorrow. And I love both you guys. I love everybody on this panel. But Dan, I followed your story live as it was going on. Mike is a brother in life with me, and his brother-in-law, Barry Windham, is one of my best friends in the world. And when I see those hurting, but I see also that love and that understanding of the way, the truth, and the light, then that restores me to hear them approaching life like that.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
That's incredible. You know, they say that history gives you the tools to be able to analyze and explain problems in the past, but there's no crucial perspective for understanding it when it comes to faith. You don't need to understand it, dissect it, go down the rabbit hole, study it, go to a library to have it. And that's the beauty of it, because no one could then take it away from you. Rock, I know that you and I always talk about our fathers who are both ill, mine and yours. Your thoughts on the honesty that Dan and Mike shared with us as well.
Well, Avi, as a fellow worshiper of Christ, I mean, if you were given this opportunity, I think there really is only one choice to make. And each of these gentlemen have a story that, you know, so often people tell you, oh, you know, I know what that must have been like. I think when it comes to losing a family member, no, you don't know what that's like until you have to actually go through that. You know, no one can really tell you anything about this situation. And honestly, in this scenario, my friend, I feel like I wouldn't be fit to judge either of these gentlemen. I commend them for the strength that it must have taken to be so open about it.
I'm so glad you guys are on the same page. Thank you again. I totally concur with Rock, Mr. Mark Henry, Mr. Magnum TA. And again, for all of you guys and gals and pals who are complaining about life happening to you, it's happening for you. Appreciate every second of it. It's not happening to you. Change that 2-letter word and include a 3-letter word called for, F-O-R. It's happening for you. Thank you again, Mark, Magnum, and Rock Richards. We're going to close things out with one more topic. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Really appreciate your hearts, guys. Really, really quickly, Mike and Dan, the hearts of those three gentlemen are incredible as well. We're talking about Rock Richards, Mark Henry, and, of course, Magnum TA.
For sure.
Absolutely. Guys, our third topic, it's a thought-provoking one. It's the only one. It's our final one. It's the only one that's different. It's the only one where I pose different questions to our luminaries here before us. It's about having a relationship with yourself. You know, we had moments of levity with the old buddy cop script, and of course, Mike and Dan shared with us their hearts and souls here on. And who's? I just want to say this right now. Take the damn shades off for a second. But like, who says we can't connect with one another on the virtual arena that this medium where people say it's cold, it's isolated, it can't bring people together. During COVID, we were stuck in a box in a cubicle, but we're not in a box. We're not. I do this because I don't want people to be in a box. I do this because I want people to realize that their name isn't just on a walk of fame, and it's not just the acclaim. It's much deeper than that. They mean much more to us, and because they have a platform, Mike has one, Mark has one, Dan has one, Michael Gross has one, Magnum TA has one. They all have platforms. I love that we're able to realize that when it comes to our story, people do care. Because although Rock said you can't compare a story to another, we can relate one story to another. I like being able to do that over here. Because once again, it comes full circle. I said at the beginning of the show, we're not different. We are not different. We've all lost someone. We've all prayed for them. We've all wished that Charles in Charge never had that 8th season. All of us, we're all one of the same, guys. And in this thought-provoking topic, I ask Dan a question and I ask Mike a question. Mike, I will ask you first, good sir. Your question is, when does silence convey more meaning than words? Whenever you are ready, my friend.
This was the easiest one for me, Avi. When I'm in the middle of an argument with my wife, I haven't won an argument in 40 years. That's the time to shut up.
You have to know. You have to know when to hold them, when to fold them.
That's it.
Mike, I'm still trying to learn that myself, by the way.
Good luck.
I'm trying to learn that. Man, oh man, guys, there you go. A lot of times we saw this with a lot of great luminaries because, yeah, sometimes answers really resonate with us when they're direct to the point. And I would say this. Never is there a battle in someone's humble abode that they can win with a significant other when it starts with, I know, or you're wrong. So, Mike, that resonated with me. That hit real deep. Oh, man, I wish you could have told me that 15 years ago.
It's some simple advice, but it lasted me for 40 years, and I'm sticking with it.
Oh, man. Dana, if you're out there somewhere, I'm sorry.
Love it, Mike.
Oh, man. Mr. Dan Jansen, my question to you is, to what degree have you actually controlled the course your life has taken, my friend?
So, you know, this is interesting because obviously we got pretty deep on question number 2. And I do want to, you know, lighten it up a little or take it in a different direction. But first of all, Mike, that was brilliant. I love your answer. It was about kind of being silent, and you said it, and you're silent.
Thank you.
Just brilliant. What degree have I controlled the course of my life has taken? So it does, interestingly enough, I think in my mind anyway, go back a little bit, and I'm not going to go too deep or too long in this, but, you know, you know, we've talked about God and Jesus and all that, you know, and is it all predetermined? But I believe things happen for a reason. And I believe that also we can't just sit around and do nothing and hope that our lives, you know, magically, you know, take a path that we want them to. We have to make decisions. We have to get out there and do things to make things happen. You know, I just sometimes they're hard decisions. Sometimes they're life-changing, altering decisions. I just thought of a couple that, for me, specifically, like, so did I control the course of my life? So, okay, I'm 15 and I played all these other sports as you did, Mike. And for whatever reason, I was an Olympic fan. I was already in a sport that was in the Olympics. I watched Eric Heiden win 5 gold medals in 1980, and I decided I want to go to the Olympics. I didn't say that I'm going to win gold medals or anything. I loved the Olympics and I wanted to go. That was one decision that changed the course of my life for sure. There's the mindset that and the belief I had in myself as I got older and as I got better. Those are all decisions you make every day. Going, training every day and getting up and doing your 1 and 2 workouts every day. Those are decisions. All of those things. On the personal side, if we're going to go there, I had to make a couple decisions to, in relationships that were destined for, higher things, and I didn't think they were correct. And a couple times I had to go there. You have to hurt people. You have to do that. But, it led me to, I've been married 23 years now with my wife, Karen. Love of my life and have the best life ever. And so those decisions certainly altered, where my life went. And then with work, I was blessed enough to do what I did on the ice and in sports. And a lot of different work jobs over the years, medical device, all these things. And I ended up kind of back doing what I have a passion about. I train athletes now. I train professional athletes physically, mentally, and I love what I do. I love to go to work every day. And so those are decisions that I think I made, and they have certainly altered the course of my life. In the long run, we always, as we just talked about, we go back to what the people we've lost and wish we were here and all that, but we're still here, and we have to do those things, and we have to move on and keep moving forward, keep them in our memory, and do what's going to be best for us in our lives. So for those things, yeah, I do think I've done certain things to alter at least the course of my life for the better.
I appreciate that again, Dan and Mike. Thank you again for.
Can I intervene?
Yes, please.
I'd like to say, like, what Dan's saying as well. You go through tough times. You lose someone that's very important to you. But my wife and I are blessed with 4 beautiful grandchildren from Wyndham, and my daughter just had a baby 6 months ago, her first. So we're blessed with 5 grandchildren, and that's gives you motivation to just keep going. You can't stop, So I just wanted to say that.
Can I ask you a question? The difference between, I like to ask everybody this question when they're obviously grandparents. The difference between a grandparent and a parent is what, Mike, in your experience?
You're more patient with your grandkids. It's when you're raising kids, everything's you're going. You're 100 miles an hour, and you don't know enough to stop and smell the roses as many times as you should. But as a grandparent, you get that opportunity more so you're wiser, you're more patient, and hopefully you can give your grandkids better advice than you gave your children.
I asked my grandpa Mike the same question years ago, and he said, well, there's a little story here. Your dad, he tells me, my dad at his peak was 6'6", 6'7", big guy. So he said, your dad walked over to me and he said, Avi's driving me nuts. Why aren't you helping? And my granddad responded to me, goes, weren't you enough? I'm enjoying life right now. That's your problem.
Exactly.
Man, oh man. This was fun. And I love it. I know it's all these taglines. I'll try to get the whole writer mode out of my head, but philosophically fun, and that's what we bring here. And guys and gals and pals, if you enjoyed the show, just keep writing about it. Let's see where this goes. I'd like to see this thing get greenlit, and somewhere outside of social media, we can have that happen. I love the studio. I love everyone who really sponsors and believes in us. Thank you so much. And guys, give credit to Mike and Dan, not only for giving us their time and their heart, but at the end of the day, I got to know the two of you. And I think that's the beauty of it, is to know the two of you. I feel like if I ever run into you guys, if we have an event, which is one of my dreams, is to have this entire ensemble here in one room, I would love to shake your hands, both of yours. So,
same goes here, Avi.
I'd be honored. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Right now, guys and gals and pals, Mr. Magnum TA, Mr. Rock Richards, Mr. Mark Henry, I would like to bring all three of them in, and whoever wants to go first can go first.
Well, I'm being a married guy, and knowing when to say when. Mike's advice was golden. You definitely have to know when to just say, yes, dear. And I also, I think a good moment to support in silence is when somebody is going through a traumatic event. And sometimes you just need somebody to sit with and to let them talk. And you just be quiet and listen. And eventually they'll say, well, what do you think? And then you can let them know how strong you think they are for being able to handle going through what they're going through. But both of those are number one with me, as far as, like, I can't think of nothing else where you support in silence. So yeah, I'd have to give a thumbs up to both.
Thumbs up to both, absolutely, guys and gals. Giselle, thank you for telling that in the back. Yeah, sometimes there's nothing more impactful than the sound of silence. Totally agree there. Guys and gals and pals, that would happen a lot in the early 2000s at Madison Square Garden when one would partake in a Knicks game. A lot of silence there. But they're doing good now. They're doing good now, Mark. They're doing good now, finally. When I stopped watching them, they're doing good. Magnum, you got to understand, they were the bane of my existence, those Knicks, really are. But they're doing good now. Mr. Magnum TA, your thoughts?
We said at the top of this, this is all about family.
Sure.
And both these men and their stories and their convictions and their reasons why they've done the things that they've done in their life are all based around their love and compassion for their families.
Sure.
And so they're so intertwined and they're so similar. Trying to say, oh, this is a completely different kind of genre of anything I've ever seen us really try to measure before, because sometimes less is more, to Mike's point. Sometimes just that moment of silence and sitting back and letting it play out,
sure,
is golden. And if you don't know, Mike Rotunda is one of the most dedicated family men that I've ever known in this wrestling industry. I didn't have the pleasure to come along with Mark during his time, but after my accident, I got to spend a little time on the road, interview people and see them and watch them from afar. And Mike was as dedicated from day one with his family as he is today throughout the whole thing. The only person I have ever personally known that I don't feel like ever compromised himself in any way, shape, or form the entire time I saw him as a professional athlete. And it speaks volumes about his character. Dan, an Olympian who his story is just world renowned known, and has put in the work and evaluated things and has the same belief system and the strength that Mike has and draws from, is on the same strong ground. I can't call a winner between these two. I mean, there was not one thing that was expressed better. I think Dan is used to communicating differently and does a great job in doing so. And Mike has always been kind of the strong, silent type, and that is part of his character. So to me, they're both winners. It is a fantastic two men to have together. I'm sorry we didn't have the three all the way through, because I think Michael's perspective on these things would have been fascinating to hear, because he's a tremendous communicator. But I'm just glad to have been part of this experience, and I really, I think we had something really clear to talk about on the first topic. But these last two things, these men are shoulder to shoulder and head high both, and I can't call it for that one was overshadowed the other on any way, shape, or form.
I know how you feel, and I concur. Yeah. I kept replaying that same thing in my head. Hey, if I were a judge, what if? Didn't have an answer. Mr. Rock Richards.
Avi, I think in the future when you have me on, sir, you're gonna have to really warn me about what I'm getting into. I mean, this has been you asked me, you wanted to judge. I didn't really know it was gonna be this hard. I pretty much have to agree with the panel here. I mean, this is I'm really at a loss of words. Both these gentlemen are just, they've captured my heart. I feel like I feel this emotional attachment to them, and I sympathize so much for what they've been through, and I'm just ready to shut up now and just listen. That's where I'm at.
Well, I'll tell you what, I can't wait to listen to our viewers. Julie Hall, I can't choose one over the other. Stella says very close all the way around. They're two winners regardless. Guys, this has never been done before, but it makes perfect sense, because in terms of the tallies, there's a tie. We haven't had many ties of two individuals moving on to the second round. We've had a few. Hasn't happened too much. Magnum and Mark are filled with wisdom. Both Dan and Mike will most deservingly win. So, guys and gals, since it is tied in the chat, I'm going to turn off comments here. 10, 9, 8. There's a 7 and 6 and a 5. There's a 4 and a 3 and a 2 and a 1 and a 0. So, guys and gals and pals, Mr. Dan Jansen and Mike Rotunda have tied each other anyhow, which means they will both be in round 2 of the TCAN Celebrity Tournament. Not something that happens often, but round of applause to you, gentlemen. Thank you again for giving us your heart and your soul. I appreciate that so much. Guys and gals, Dan Jansen and Mike Rotundo in the spring. Again, a bevy of Hall of Famers. We are talking about the men behind the title. The title may be something that obviously brings you into this virtual arena. 97 as of last count. Hall of Famers from wrestling, music, sports, along with Oscar, Grammy, Tony, Emmy, Golden Globe, WGA, AMA, and Olympians all competing in this tournament. 97, add Dan Jansen and Mike Rotunda to that prestigious list. But also, don't take for granted the human beings. Don't take for granted how all of these human beings have retained their humanity, even when societal pressures sometimes make it difficult for those like these gentlemen who've reached the pinnacle. What do we know? They've been there. They've been to the mountaintop. They've had every reason to not share their hearts and souls. They have every reason to go ahead and make it about their career and live in some warped world where it's all about the prize. But the real prize lies behind their eyes. So appreciate them for that, because they are class personified all the way. Those are my thoughts. Guys and gals, it's been a special night indeed. I do want to ask Dan and Mike to hang around for 2 more minutes. I want to talk about what they have coming down the pike a lot, and Rock as well. I want to talk to Mark briefly, and then Magnum as well. Mr. Rock Richards, I'm going to talk to you as well one-on-one. Guys, please congratulate Dan and Mike. I will put you both backstage, Dan and Mike, momentarily and bring you right back. Thank you again, and congrats for being in round number 2, by the way.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Absolutely. I'll bring you guys back momentarily. And Mr. Magnum T, I will as well, good sir. Mark Henry, the word fun. There's a lot of words. You and I are both wordsmiths, but at the end of the day, I'm at a loss for those words. So help me. Help me right now.
You know what? Today it was a simple case of life happening and how people dealt with life happening. Trouble is going to come. Peace is going to come. But how you get there is going to be different for every individual. And the support systems that we have and that we create around us is really important. I preach that to my kids all the time. Like, don't run to the fire. I know it's attractive. Once upon a time, I was attracted to the fire.
Sure.
But I was really blessed to have a great support system and group of people around me that wanted me to do well. They wanted me to win. So everybody, got in line and put together the phalanx, and I was able to survive and succeed. And that's what my wife and I are doing for our kids. And I think that both of those men have great support systems around them. You have to be able to deal with what they dealt with. So it's pretty cool to see them persevere and have a great perspective now. And they both put it on. We talked about this being family.
Sure.
They both put it on the grandkids and the daughters and the kids, of their family members they lost. And it's going to be a wonderful thing to watch them grow up.
Sure.
Excuse me. Unfortunately, life means that one day we won't be here, and they're going to have to deal with us being gone. And they have to be taught that, that's a part of life. And even though it's a part of life, it still hurts, and it's going to hurt every time. But how you deal with it in the support system is where it is. And I think both of them have that. And I'm looking forward to seeing Mike and hugging him the next time I see him. He knows how much I love this son. I sent a picture of Jacob and Joanna with his son the other day, just randomly. I sent it. I'm gonna send that photo to Mike. But that's, Mike would appreciate, talking to Jacob because he raised wrestlers. He grew up a wrestler.
Sure.
And there's a lot of people that are supporting the kids. So we're gonna try to get his followers up and all of that stuff. And when he goes over 100 wins the next week. So
that's so remarkable.
Looking forward to seeing that.
You said something, and I'll mention it briefly because there's a lot I can unpack here, and I'll unpack one thing that you said. You brought up pain, and to me, pain is humane. And sometimes we need to remind ourselves that we are human in a very inhumane world sometimes, which, by the way, hello, 2024, enough said. It's a good kick in the butt that we can feel. And trust doesn't really reside on Velcro. So it's good to know that your trust wants to walk. It wants to be mobile. It wants to run. It wants to sprint. But who do you give it to? Who do you give your trust to? So to hear that you had your support system, you didn't have to take a football and toss a Hail Mary hoping that ball would land in someone's hand because your trust was close to home. Your trust was right there. You didn't have to gamble on some pass, hoping and wishing upon a star that some wide receiver would catch it. You had it with your family, and that's beautiful. And that's what makes you, in my opinion, based on our many conversations, be such a great role model for your son. Most people don't want to use the term role model, or they might seek someone else. But to know that that he has a father, that Jacob has a father that placed his trust in people he loves, knowing that his father is doing the same for him means that he'll do the same for his kids. And that comes from you. You have to take your roses, because I don't know anyone that works as hard as you do. I don't know anyone that's as consistent as you are. I don't know anyone that wants to give so much of himself to other people. I don't know anyone that can walk down the street, spend 30 minutes with a homeless person and say to them, you know what? We're not different. And I'm here for you.
Yeah.
And I care about your story. And I care about your journey. And your journey ain't over. And that's what makes you. I always think this about you, and I've never said it on air, but your presence is a present. That's how I feel about you.
Thank you, Avi.
You are 100% class personified, my friend. That being said, people want to have the Mark Henry Avi Klein rematch in round 2. What's the matter with them? Have they lost their mind, Mark? Why do they want to see a rematch?
Because it was so good.
Man, they want the rematch, man. Guys, leave me. I don't want to face Mark Henry again. Are you kidding me? Mark's one of the all-time favorites to win this thing, according to all of you. Mark, you are always busy, so I'll bring this up first, and then a lot of stuff that you got coming down the pike too. But we're both looking forward to our show, Lifting the Curtain. It's going to be amazing because not only the guests that we bring in, but the conversations that we're going to have live in front of the masses. Are you excited?
I'm excited, man. And now that the bmarkhenry.com is active, I think it'll be a great place for people to go and see the highlights of the green room and Lifting the Curtain. So it's going to have a home.
I love that. I love that. Beyond that, Mark, a lot going on. As you brought up Jacob, man, oh man, what a great year he had last year and now into 2024. That momentum's continuing. What about you? Because I know what you have coming down the pike. What would you like to share with our fans? Because there's a lot.
You know what, man? I think the number one thing is Jacob won't be living with us next year. He's going to be going to college, and it'll be a lot harder on my wife than it will on me because I'm comfortable with the surroundings that he's going to be in, and I know that Jacob is hungry to be great, and he knows what's required of him. So I'm really not that worried, and I think that I'm going to move my family probably halfway. So
okay.
There's very likely we'll be in Oklahoma City next year. So I'm planning to move. So that's kind of on the horizon.
That sounds pretty cool, man. So Mark, you're going to be moving. Jacob, of course, is doing his thing as well. Our show is coming down the pike. It'll be debuting live. Knicks basketball is fun to watch. Things are looking good right now.
Hey, all hail Brunson.
Yes, all hail Brunson. Man, oh man, I got to start watching basketball again. Well, Mark, again, thank you for being you, my friend. Thank you for joining us on the 175th consecutive episode of The Green Room. I will talk to you soon, my friend.
All right, man. Y'all be good.
Mr. Mark Henry, guys and gals, a pro. And again, pro knows pro, games knows game. Mr. Magnum TA. From one pro to another, I want to bring you in momentarily. But before I do, I want to bid Dan Jansen adieu really quickly, and then Mike Rotunda, because they're back here. Dan, again, what you do, charitable causes, foundations, there's a lot going on. But I want to bring this up to the masses so that they can be privy to it because, again, your love for your sister began many moons ago. You shared us that story tonight, I should say. Where could people access that, Dan? Where could they learn more?
So we have my foundation, Dan Jansen Foundation, djfoundation.org. You can go to, but just briefly what we do, our biggest, so when Jane was ill, we shared the story about our family, but she had to have her bone marrow transplant out in Seattle. Well, we're from Wisconsin. My parents had to move there for a year. We were back and forth for a year. She had her bone marrow transplant there. And then, and it turns out she didn't make it. But I realized that the expense that goes to the families, the non-medical expenses.
Sure.
And so a big part of my foundation is the Family Aid Fund, where we pay for families going through this. Their children or siblings are going through this, sons and daughters. And some have to quit their jobs so they can be with the child who's getting treatment. So we pay for, every day we get requests. It might be household bills, gas and electric bills. They're going to shut off their power. It might be just gas to get to the hospital. It might be flights. It might be room and board. We cover the gamut. So that's been probably the biggest part of our foundation is that fund. And we've helped over 1,200 families now, given over $1 million to these families. And so we're just trying to, we're small, but we're trying to keep it going. And it's been pretty impactful for the families that we've helped.
Well, your heart's big and you're humble, my friend. And we're going to keep reminding the masses every Saturday night about this because it definitely speaks to me. Dan, you're in round number 2. Are you looking forward to that?
I am. Spring, so lots of time to get thoughts together. But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I appreciate you having me, and I do want to say a quick thanks to the judges. You know, they sit and give their time and listen to us, and really nice of them to do, and you as well for bringing up such great, thoughtful topics. And you know, and for Mike, just thank you for sharing, you know, his heartfelt thoughts, and I certainly obviously understand, and just God bless you, Mike. And sorry about Michael not being able to stay with us today, but hopefully we'll see him along the way too. But thanks.
Yeah, we just during one of your topics, Michael Gross will be back, guys, in late March, right at the end of round number 1. So we'll see him again in this tournament. Thank you for spending your evening with us on a Saturday night, Mr. Jansen.
All right, thanks, Avi. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great night.
You too.
Dan Jansen. And guys, again, class act to class act. There have been people I've worked with in film and TV that want to do this tournament, but I don't judge people. We know I can never judge, and I don't want to judge people, but I do want to have people that I've experienced. If I've experienced people, then I could take them at face value. And I'd rather have people that are, of course, passionate, but they stand for something. And as I said, they retain their humanity, and that's Mike Rotunda. And I can tell you that over the last 6-7 conversations we've had, or I feel like I've known him for a long time. He's a great human being. Mr. Mike Rotunda, thank you again for your presence tonight.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say same to you, Dan. It was a pleasure interacting with you, as well as Michael, which was very short because we didn't get a chance to hear his good ideas. And thank you, Avi. If I could, I'd like to plug something.
Please.
Triple H from WWE, when our son Wyndham passed away, was gracious enough to put Wyndham under a Legends contract. And a good portion of the proceeds are going to go to his 4 children. So if you want to go to WWEshop.com. There's merchandise on there for, I wouldn't go to some of these other sites because they pop up with selling his t-shirts. If it's not affiliated with WWE.com, shop.com, then none of those proceeds will eventually make it to Wyndham's children. 2 of Wyndham's children are like young, very young, like 3 and 4 years old. And he's got 2 older girls, but it'll be something nice when they get to a certain age that WWE has done for them, and it's appreciated by our family, and pretty cool. And I'd also like to plug, I've got an autobiography coming out sometime early this year, and I'm not so much plugging it for myself. I'd like to mention the author, Ian Douglas, who is writing the book. And the reason that being, he's also written books for Steve Kern and Brian Blair, and he's done work. He works for publications and stuff. And he's been very gracious with me as well through all this, with my mom passing and then Wyndham passing. So it's been like a kind of a drawn out process, but we're finally maybe making some progress towards getting the book out sometime, hopefully by mid-year, I would say. So
I would love to be able to get my hands on that book. And, you know, for some of the viewers who are commenting too.
We get it out, I'll send it to you, Avi.
I appreciate that. And, you know, the viewers were asking too, guys and gals and pals who were commenting, it's WWEshop.com, WWEshop.com. Guys, I implore you, you know, I don't do this if I don't mean it. Please go check it out. Please go check it out. It would really be cool if you guys checked out WWEshop.com. And again, you could play this back whenever you'd like. I'll even send sound bites to you guys so you can remember to go there. That's your destination. Don't go anywhere else. That's where you should go. And it will help. And that's the key, because Mike was gracious enough to give us his time as well. Mike, did you have fun tonight? Did you have a nice time?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a little stressful talking about certain things, obviously, but sometimes that helps too. So
I thank you for sharing your heart. I consider you a friend already. And hey, you're in round number 2, which is pretty cool.
Cool. Same
Mike,
to you. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Have a great night.
All right, brother. Thank you.
You got it. Mr. Magnum TA, and then Mr. Rock Richards, who I want to talk to briefly as well, but I want to bring in Magnum. Magnum, I am at a loss for words, so maybe you can help me too.
You know, I don't believe anything happens by happenstance.
Sure.
And the moment that was created by that technical difficulty and letting those two men pour their heart out and express themselves the way they did, created a dynamic that you couldn't have scripted. You couldn't have had everyone touch just the way they were. It was surreal, and it was impactful, and it was like Mark and I and you. I mean, we're all thinking the same thing as we're hearing this, because this is what life is about. It
Sure.
is facing head on, adversities that are not just trials, but gut wrenching, stop you in your tracks. How am I going to take another breath? Kind of things, and to see how that's navigated, and then the story that tells by you navigating it that way, teaches others. How do we get through this? I've been really just starting to interact a little with folks in the social media world,
sure,
on a different level through Instagram, and finding people that have had very similar type diversities come in their life as I have, with spinal injuries and the things. What I find is that, you don't have to have an accident. You don't have to break your neck in a car. You don't have to have a diving accident. You can be paralyzed in life without ever having an injury. You can be so stifled that you don't know how to move from point A to point B, to even figure out where to start. And the world's full of people, looking for answers, looking for hope, and just saying words without having something to point back to what you've done and what you've seen in your life and those experiences.
Sure.
Those are the things that encourage, and those are the things that give people a glimmer of, hey, miracles do still happen. There might not be the parting of the Red Seas, but the most improbable thing that you could ever mathematically calculate takes place just when it needs to take place to make the moon and stars line up. So the journey of faith is unique for all of us.
Sure.
And what you're doing here, and all the threads that are being tied together through this work, is not by happenstance, my friend. And I'm glad to be along this line, on this ride with you.
I appreciate that, man. You're one of the most generous human beings with one of the most generous hearts, and I'm glad I'm surrounded by gentlemen like you. You've become an amazing friend, and you're right about what you said, because I thought about it earlier, and you put it into words now that I think are very poignant, and you conveyed a certain thing that went on in my mind about how forgiveness is saying thank you for giving us an experience. That's true forgiveness, because we can whine and cry about how things went wrong, but if sometimes things don't go wrong, they'll never go right. As long as we approach that as a learning lesson and say, hey, you know what? I may not be here right now if a mishap took place a couple years back. It's so interesting to be able to have perspective in real time. I don't know if you've experienced it. I have to ask you this. Have you ever had something, bad happen to you recently, the last couple of years maybe, and you might have thought it was something minor or maybe something major, but as it was happening, you were telling yourself, I'm grateful for this too. Maybe not at that second, but maybe an hour later, you're like, you know what?
I can't say that it happened as quickly to where you give you that kind of clarity like that, but I can point to an event that took place in my life that completely altered a path that I was on, and things that I thought were very settled, and things that have still not completely unraveled themselves, Yet now in retrospect, I can see if that pivot hadn't taken place, all the perspective things that are in my pipeline in front of me now would never even been a possibility. And a funny little note, with Mike, I'm involved in a business venture with a bunch of gentlemen.
Oh yeah.
Called Power Town, and where wrestling lives on. And early on, as we were reaching out to different individuals and whatnot, I reached out to Mike, and Mike was already had some obligations to someone else, but his one little brief interaction with me introduced me to somebody that has become an integral part now of what we do, formed a insane relationship that is so critical path to our potential success. It's not even funny. And it was all just because of that little step, little turn.
Yeah.
And somebody has that kind of impact.
Sure.
And it's like, I know you've seen like the little commercials about, people talk about having a guardian angel, but that guardian angel might look like he's tripping you. He might look like he's shoving you under a bus, or he might be doing whatever. But in the reality, you can't see in the moment what really could be happening to you, or what direction you really need to take and turn. So being able to be able to sit back and be given the discernment, then to see that and realize, wow, this is so surreal that we'll share, when you and I get a chance to get our thing started and talking, I have some things that I can share that will just blow people's minds. And again, it is so makes absolutely no sense whatsoever in the real world, but in the spiritual world and in the world of purpose and things beyond your conception, then they make perfect sense. And at 27 years old, my life taking a complete pivot and losing all the physical capabilities that I'd measured myself by my entire life, and learning to develop a side of me that I never even knew existed, and thought processes and things that wouldn't have ever even been in my wheelhouse, is not the life I would have chosen by any stretch of the imagination. But I could never have impacted and affected positively the number of people that I've been blessed to be able to do because of those circumstances, and none of them happened.
Well, that's a testament to not only your resiliency, but being able to, again, proper subtext to everything. Nothing happens through happenstance. I like that. Kim says, I couldn't miss Magnum. He's so inspiring and speaks from the heart. You're right, Miss Laurinaitis. He does. And, well, don't miss any of this show, Kim. Don't miss any of it. Why? But Mr. Magnum TA and I are going to have our own show here live as part of 70 other shows under this umbrella. But it's not really a show per se. It's a conversation. And I'm glad I'm going to be able to have more with you. Maybe it's an excuse that I can have more conversations with this gentleman over here, because he does provide a lot of insight. And you guys are welcome to join us in this virtual arena like you have here. We'll have the tea brewing, and we can have a nice time having a conversation here live. But I do want to bring this up because it's very important. You and Mr. Gagne have worked a long time. There was that story about a recent event where Greg shared with me. He said, man, I finally got a chance to give him a big old hug. And, being able to work on something that inspires kids, being able to be a part of something that was a vision of yours that came to fruition. It's so great to know that in 2024, 2025, I don't have the dates in front of me, but seeing the progress you guys have made, I'm dumbfounded by it. Like, you have never quit, not to mention the fact that you have other obligations and other duties. We talked about this on the phone yesterday. You just don't sleep, but I would not sleep on this action figure line because it looks really, really slick, polished, and professional.
The product is second to none, but the reason for the product that is what this thing is all about, because there is a whole generation and several generations of folks that have laid a foundation for the sports entertainment that people enjoy today. And we are trying to create a body that will not only give them recognition, but give them some financial substance that because there was no retirement or no pensions or nothing offered up back in the day for anybody to build towards anything for the future. We're trying to actually create an environment to create some residual income for the much older retired guys, but even for the widows of the families. And it is something that is continuing to develop, and that was the reason for this all beginning to start with. And it started from air with nothing but sweat equity. And so the product is absolutely phenomenal, but it's the reason for it all being created that is what I'm so excited about. So
2.5 years ago, I remember the
story.
Yeah, the evolution of this thing. 2.5 years ago, I remember talking to Steve and Greg, and to see what it's become and what it's going to do, I think is amazing. And I think you are too, because the whole thing about you that I respect is about you have a radiating truth about you and a love. And that's not a technique. That's organic. It's wholehearted. You don't judge anybody. And again, I really feel like when our show, guys, called The Next Chapter debuts here, we are going to talk about everything. We are going to talk about the Knicks. We already established that. But we are going to talk about this amazing action figure line. We're going to talk about the guests that have their stories to tell. But guess what? What we're going to talk about is truth and faith. And there's nothing scary about. There's nothing scary about something that's so loving. And that's what I love about this, Magnum, is that you are able to share things with people here that we may not have broken bread with, but they sure are good friends, and they like having a good time with us. I respect them. I respect you. And Magnum, I got to ask you the same question. Round 2's upon us. Here to win the whole thing?
Oh, not even a question. But I will say that the company in which we're all swimming around in is you have put together just an amazing group of people that I respect, that I could sit and spend hours talking with people from the entertainment industry that I grew up watching as a young man, watching their programs or sports stars that I admired. And those, we all have that common thread that becomes so evident when we get to speak with each other. And it's like meeting an old friend. It's not even like, oh, well, geez, so great to meet you. And we have an awkward silence. We don't know what to talk about. We all are tied together so organically, that word, that it's natural. It's not contrived. It doesn't have to be scripted. It's not put on. And you bring a great entertainment value to this whole approach that you've got, which is so unique. But then the meat of it is just so rich and tasteful that I'm just really excited to see where this will all go.
Well, you're a huge part of it, my friend, and you are the embodiment of intellect, strength, and loyalty. And guys and gals, Magnum TA and I, The Next Chapter, episode number 1, will debut in late February. We're going to let you know when extremely soon. Thank you again for joining us tonight, my good friend. I appreciate you.
My pleasure as always, and look forward to the kickoff.
You got it, my friend. Have a great weekend.
All right, you too.
Magnum TA, guys. Rock, we've had about, I think, 2 straight episodes that have clocked in at 3 hours. A lot of these celebrity tournament matchups have gone 90 minutes, 2 hours. Last couple of weeks have been long, but my, I feel like you and I are the winners. Would you concur?
Oh, absolutely, Avi. I mean, when you talk about this is your 175th episode, and that means I've been kind of going down this road with you for a while now, brother.
Yes.
I mean, we've sat here and we've laughed until our sides were about to split. I mean, we've been held on the edge of our seat by, pro wrestling road stories. We've been left in awe by the abilities of all of the entertainers and the athletes here. And then, but tonight was almost like it was like a therapy session, man. Tonight was so intimate. And when you hear about things that people go through in their life, and I mean, you start to, try to contemplate the mind of God, and you think way bigger than you're used to thinking. And what it does, man, is it shrinks us all down to the same size, brother. And I see guys who, like everyone who was on that screen has influenced me in my life. But tonight I see them all now as just as people just like me that are riding this wave of life and just trying to figure it all out, man.
I think relatability builds friendships, because as you mentioned, brings everyone down to earth. And man, oh man, I want people to understand, when I think of Rock Richards guys and gals and pals, family. Again, we think of the word family. That's why I said tonight's theme was family. Mark and his son Jacob and his kids, Michael Gross and his grandkids, Mike Rotunda and his children and grandkids, Dan Jansen and his sister, and you and your family. It's such a special thing because true friendship, we talked about this the other day. I think true friendship is selfless. You may not see a friend as much. You may not hang out with them as much. But if you know they're doing good, and the key word is they're happy, that's the sign of a friend. You're a friend. You're a brother. I say it on air. But I will also say this. You are one tough competitor because on that night, you know which night I'm talking about, by the way, in May, there was quite the matchup between you, Jason London, and Joe Rositano, and many of our viewers were like, Rock won. Does that sting a little bit? Does that do something to you? Like when you know that the viewers, because you watch Black Box, of course, and you see them every Wednesday, they're confident, they say Rock won the match. Rock's in round number 2. Rock shouldn't be in the second chance bowl. Rock, what is that nice to hear, or does that kind of sting even more?
Well, I think you're talking about a little combination of both, Avi. I mean, I'm pretty aware of what happened. I felt like I came in, I think I had the most structured argument. I think I brought the most facts, I mean, this is a different landscape, my friend. This isn't just a trivia show. This isn't just a debate. Right. I mean, there's different ways to win here. And yeah, it does sting a little bit to know that I felt like I excelled at the actual task at hand.
100%.
So yeah, it's been on my mind a little bit, admittedly.
When you say it's been on your mind, what is it about the competitors? What is it? The match? Was it Jason? Was it Joe? Was it the viewers? What resonates with you most? What is something you can't stop thinking about? Is it one of the participants, perhaps?
Well, Avi, let's start off by saying this. As a competitor, I made a comment about the intro earlier.
Yeah.
To see the lineup.
Yeah. See, Julie Hall, Rock did great that night. I like that.
It's flashing before your face.
Yeah.
But there's also clips of these guys who are saying, "Hey, I'm here to win it."
Yeah.
Well, the likes of such talent saying, "Hey, I'm here to win it," for someone like me, brother, that there's a gut check there. You know what I mean? You have to ask yourself, do you really want this? Do you have what it takes to even compete against these guys? And for me, I think as a competitor, that kind of gets the juices flowing. You know what I mean? It gives you that tingle, that excitement, where you want to test out your chops, if you will.
Yeah,
and
you challenge yourself. You challenge yourself a lot. I know that you do because you're one of those human beings that I know is relentless. That's what makes you relentless. Before I read this comment over here before you, I think that's what makes you who you are. You don't settle. You always are pushing yourself to be the best. Truly, Julie says Rock versus Joe rematch is. What's that? I mean, is that something you've been thinking about?
Well, Avi, when it comes to competition, if Joe was here in front of me, I would probably want to tell him like, "Hey, Joe, know that this nothing about this is personal."
Yeah.
But, honestly, I wouldn't be lying. It's very personal, but it's personal in a way that it's me versus myself. So I see what Joe's doing. Joe's putting in the work. Joe's busting his butt. He's got the talent. He's got the ability, and it's hard not to acknowledge that. But at the same time, as a competitor, like I almost have to apologize to Joe because Joe Rositano is like this, probably a very well-rounded and amazing person, but he's trapped inside of this shell of the person who beat me. You know what I mean? So
Ooh,
when I think about it, I see Joe Resitano. Maybe he's the face to which I attach my anger, my emotions.
Well, because we're good friends and you were here with me from day number 1 in the green room and helped us build this place, you're a big part of where we are now. Far be it for me to get in the way of what you just described.
Joe?
Rock.
Well, I hope you heard what I said. When you kind of awoke something in me. You know, I am very used to coming on and being victorious here on the green room. So, you know, the taste of defeat is quite sour in my mouth, and I am looking forward to possibly having this second chance. And Joe, I'm just going to let you know that it's not personal, but the feelings are hard, brother. I feel like I actually did win the competition. I feel like you and Mr. London won in other ways. All right.
If you're able somehow to get back, I want you to know that far be it from me to prevent that from happening. And as one competitor to another who knows game and how hard you fought and what you brought, I'd be honored to go up against you again.
And I would as well, Joe. Just understand, please. Just understand that it's not personal, but it sure as hell is going to seem like it is. If I get another chance, it could be the last one I have, and I will make the best of it.
I wouldn't have it any other way, Rock.
What you're looking at here, guys and gals, is nothing but good old-fashioned respect. But you're also looking at intensity. Joe Resitano, I want to put you in the back. Mr. Rock Richards. Before I give you a solo layout to tell our audience anything that's on your mind, anything you'd like about the tournament or anything else, you are relentless. And I want everyone to understand, for those that don't know, with our viewership growing, that this man over here, Rock Richards, is not someone I would want to face. Because that face you're looking at right now, the man dressed in black, nothing phases him. Intellect plus passion equals Rock Richards, guys and gals, wholeheartedly. So, my friend, on this special 175th consecutive episode, the floor is yours solo to close out any way that you would like.
Well, Avi, first of all, I just want to thank you again. I want to congratulate you on what I feel is a very successful 175th episode. I mean, with tonight, you really show the diversity, the how differences can be set aside and how people from all walks of life can co-mingle and really just share experiences. I'm looking forward to sometimes I can't even think of the words sometimes to describe the level of this competition. I mean, the best of the best in all walks of life, all forms of sports and entertainment. I mean, it's indescribable. I'm just thankful. I'm humbled. And I appreciate you letting me experience this with you and everyone else out there. And Joe Resitano, rest assured, friend, you're going to get everything I got, because Avi is right. He's a good friend. He's given me this amazing platform. I really appreciate it. And so I plan to make the best of it. And Joe, I give you everything I got, brother. They don't call me relentless for nothing.
I echo those sentiments. I echo them. Have a great night, my friend.
You as well, brother.
Rock Richards, guys, a class act. Man, oh man. What a night. What a night indeed. I think water is calling my name. So let's bring in John Red, Giselle, Joe, Howard, and Mindy. We might play a video. Might just be one tonight. But guys, before we do, let's hear the thoughts of this amazing cast and family.
Hi.
Hey, what's
Howard, John, Mindy, Joe.
Joe. Mindy.
When you see everybody on screen right now on this panel, what are your thoughts?
Well, it was something I kind of put in the comment section, when Rock was on, Rock was also very much part of the foundation of this place. And that's what I think when I see you guys have all become part of the foundation of TKN, and what you guys do on screen and what you all do behind the scenes is also completely amazing. So yeah, that's what I think.
It's
still right away, resting her voice a little bit, although it's back slightly, so we'll be able to hear her soon. John, you were saying?
Well, I was gonna say that when I see you guys, y'all are like family. We're a big. We work together and we do a whole lot together, and we create a whole lot of what we call edutainment. That coined the thing that Avi coined the phrase, but y'all are like a family. We are in communication every day and throughout the day. And, I speak to you guys more than I speak to probably people that I work with, probably people, my own family members. I mean, we are a family. It's a bond. And, it's not just us that see it. Other people from the outside see it as well, and so, I want to thank you guys for what y'all, not only do y'all give to this project, but also give to me on a daily basis.
Thank you, John. Mindy, what do you got? I see family. Rock said relentless, and that is who we are. And I don't think anyone on here would disagree at all. Joe, what are your thoughts on the match tonight?
Each of these gentlemen had
deep sigh.
Mind so much. Mike, having known about his son and getting to see how he worked in the ring and more, and what influence he had, and then getting to hear from Dan's perspective about his relative. I love that each of these people were able to perfectly not just summarize that feeling of who they hope to have with them on their journeys and what they might do differently, or how to leave more of a positive impact with those people or the way that they influence them. But I also love that every time we enter another tournament night, you see more personality. You don't see the pomp and circumstance that we follow up with what a name brings and the credence that it holds. You see people being, I love that.
Yeah. We've had a first in this match this evening where we had a non-vote on topic 2, because how could you possibly vote on that? And every week we say, can we tie them? I can't vote on this. How do I decide? I need to flip a coin. But I think if any topic was truly going to have that non-vote, this was definitely the night to do it. And I don't think we've had anybody yet choose the same person for the same topic. We've had a couple of similar ones, but not the exact same. And I like how they went in different directions with it and had these very personal stories. Many of us were in tears. I'm not going to speak for everyone. I know I was. But John,
I can say that, like when I listened to the argument when
when Mike first gave his argument, you know, I understand what he's going through. You know, you don't know the pain of losing a child unless you've been there. I'm not saying that people don't have losses and maybe, but losing a child is just a special kind of hurt. And then when Michelle was taken from us at a young age, and then he talked about his grandkids. You know, a lot of people don't know Michelle had a kid, and we raised him as our own, but he is Michelle's kid. He is my grandson, you know, and he calls me dad, and that's fine because I'm his dad as far as he's concerned, but he is still Michelle's son. And, you know, I hurt a lot of times for him because he doesn't have his mom. You know, Mindy has done a hell of a job to step up and take on that role and been a hell of a mother to him. And I can't take that, you know, she's done that and she didn't have to. And that was a wonderful thing for her to do. And I've taken that role as his dad, but he has that void. And, you know, it's already Mike's already figuring out a way to fill the void financially. You know, I mean, people don't think about that. You know, when the kids are left behind for whatever reason, for whatever happens, whether it's the tragedy of getting killed by a drunk driver, or if it's, you know, something medically, the kids a lot of times are the ones that suffer down the road. And this thing that I plan to go on there and purchase something because I want to support that and because it goes directly to the kids. So, I mean, that's a wonderful thing. And both of them talked about taking tragedy and making something good of it. You know, you have two choices when tragedy happens to you. You can draw the shades and just drown in your sorrow, or you can go out and you can make a difference and make someone else's journey a little bit easier, and hopefully in our case maybe prevent that someone else joining that club that nobody wants to be a part of.
You know what's beautiful to me? Many years ago, Mindy Red shows up on a show I used to co-host, and John was a guest during one of those episodes. And although he's taken every liberty he can right now to speak over Mindy because she has no voice, more understanding I cannot be, but still, to see John Red, to see you, trust us, because I would be filled with ego and delusion if I assumed that you weren't capable, or nor have you resonated with the masses before you met us, because you have. But to see the trust, again, it's this thing that you can't see me touching with my fingers right now. I got to clean this, but I'm touching my laptop right now. No, I don't. It's immaculate. But I got to tell you, it better be. I'm just OCD. I'll tell you something. To be able to have your trust all the way down in, you know, Houston, Texas, right nearby, and same with Joe from Oregon. You know, I didn't know that young man who was talking about music and guitars the first time we saw him here on the show and had his glasses on would be such a permanent fixture of our lives and the show, both. And that's the thing. There's a duality here, which I love. Most people think you can't work with people that you have befriended or love. But I would say, no, we're living proof that you can do that. And Giselle, who I remember her first, we were doing the lake. First time she popped in and had to read. Never knew me from Adam, but looked like she wanted to kill me. Maybe it was the lateness of the hour. Maybe it was the bad Wi-Fi. I don't know what it was. But thank you, Beverly. And you're right. Beverly, you know all about John and Mindy, and we're happy we met them. You are too, Miranda. You are awesome as well. Just know that. You are awesome as well. Ed, you remember when Mindy and John started on TKN? Guys, Wednesday night, all of your comments get read every time. Tonight, I call this more like the event. Not really a party, but it's an event. And when you have an event, man, oh man, everybody shows up in droves. And I've been teasing this announcement, and I'm still not going to give it to you because it's 3 hours and 20 minutes. But just trust me, the event will continue after each tournament matchup here on the Green Room. It'll be your one-stop place to kick back and enjoy all of these luminaries and green roomers in one place. Again, I might announce it on the Black Box. Let's get all you down there Wednesday night. Why? Because Second Chance Bowl, only a few spots left. Now, some of you are asking about Michael Gross. He's been rebooked. Michael Gross will be back. Michael Gross will be back. And I will give him a chance to go to those two topics again. So That might be one night where everyone has a different topic, which might be wild. So we've never done that. But John and Mindy and Howard and Giselle and Joe, I'm happy that we set a precedence tonight. I'm happy that for one topic and one topic only, nobody voted. Are you guys in agreement with me about that?
That was a wonderful thing.
Not with this. Not with this. It had to be a no vote.
I'm with you. I mean, when two men just bear, I mean, and we've seen people bare their heart and soul, but in that context, in that kind of, with that kind of power, you can't really vote on that, you know?
Yeah. And again, I want to give my my love to Mark Henry and Magnum. Both have become very dear friends of mine, and with Mark, John and Mindy and Howard know this from the early days of the Green Room. He's been with us since late 2020, so. To see him acknowledge what this has become behind the scenes with me when we talk and even on air, that's all I need. Because I remember him telling me back in 2020, you got this. When people that I work for did not say you got this. When people that I work for said, don't do this. Don't. And he was not one of those people who said don't. He said do. When there were not many people watching the show. And now we're everywhere. And the growth has been incredible. So to get that from Mark and for him to see this, we had that special show in October where he was on a panel with the late Tom Sizemore, and he was on the panel with Pete Babcock and Todd Bridges and all these names that you'll be seeing here again as well, not only as competitors in the tournament, but with their own shows. But that right after that night, he said to me, don't you dare be intimidated by the mistakes that occur around you. Don't you dare. Don't you dare, he told me. He says, you're going to have nights where you don't want to do this. You're going to have nights where you don't want to talk to your best friends. You're going to have nights who work with you. You're going to have nights where you just want to say, why am I doing this? And he said, that's exactly why you do it. You do it because of the moment or the day that isn't going away. And you want it to go away. You want a sunrise because that sunset seems like it's eternal. You're living in misery, you're living in pain, you're living in regret, you're living in turmoil, you're living with doubt, self-consciousness. And to be able to go through that and wake up the next day and go, I just conquered that. There is nothing more inspirational than that. And all of you watching and commenting know exactly what I mean, because whether it's Brian and what he's going through with his health, stay healthy, my friend, or Lisa, keep pushing, Alexander, Miranda, you know what I'm talking about? All you guys have your own struggles, but this is the place where if you choose to, it's always a choice, you can communicate that with us because you are part of this family. You are part of this living room conversation. You are part of TKN. And that's why the winner of this tournament, that's why the winner of this tournament is going to be proud to hoist that trophy because it stands for something. Many people have been to Greece as far as these luminaries are concerned. Many people have a bank account that far surpasses $13,000. But to be able to represent a tournament that stands for what we stand for, there is no greater prize. And that's why I'm glad we're headed in the direction we're headed. And guys, again, numbers in this case equate to reach. And the inspiration that you guys have given us is hopefully something we give to you. So in that case, numbers mean a lot because we want people to be able to inhale this and be a part of this environment that is not judgmental or critical. That it's positive, it is fun, and it's one of a kind. So we're happy to show this off right now, this little video, because it speaks volumes about how we've grown on other platforms. Hope you enjoy. that guy all the time. So, guys and gals, those are our numbers. My gosh. I mean, I want you to put this in proper context. In 6 days and 6 nights, we had an increase of 4.2 thousand subscribers on YouTube. Pretty cool stuff. Absolutely. Wait, what? My head is spinning, and that's insane. No, Ramon, Phil's head spins all the time. That's not insane, trust me. That's quite normal. As a matter of fact, great edit for sure. Yeah, great video there. Guys and gals, again, Howard Collado, Giselle, Joe, Mindy, myself, John, Julie. I want to take a time to bring up Julie for a second. Truly, Julie, what she does on this network, I think we can all attest to this, is absolutely indescribable, and we could not be doing any of this without her and what she does. Would you guys agree?
Absolutely. If we did not have Truly Julie on this team, I don't know where we would be. She is glue. She is holding all of us together.
Oh, yeah.
She is there to pick up the tasks that Avi can't do because he's busy being Jerry Maguire. She is a delight, and I am so pleased to be working with her.
I mean, she's a lion. I mean, her attention to detail, her capacity to communicate, follow through, organize meetings, all of it. It's astounding, and I'm beyond grateful to be working.
Yeah. And Julie, we're going to call you right after this, so pick up. I have no idea, McKenna says, how Julie does everything she does. I barely have time to breathe, and she still manages to cover where I fail. You don't fail, McKenna. You're awesome. But remember, I read that comment earlier. You challenged me to dare I say that word? To a tournament match?
Oh.
That is where you fail if that came to fruition. I'm sorry there. But McKenna, we love you. Joe Ricitano, thoughts on Julie, man? She is such a huge part of what we do.
Julie being someone who can survive and message even at times that are crazy and hear some of the wildest stuff that has gone on behind the scenes, and to be able to still be like, no, that's workable, that's doable, let's make it happen, we can still make it happen. That is something that's beyond impressive, and yet somehow learns how to manage time and grow in ways that are
Look at these great comments. She's great. You're right, Joe. You're right. Consistently, too, before I turn over to John, I want to make, that's the guys, the black box is sort of like the Wild West. Anything can happen. Challenges, in case you don't watch it, in case you don't watch the black box, we might do a little black box review video. I'm holding my breath, but because we want to show you what you've missed every Wednesday night, because there's a lot going down. All right, we found out that McKenna won a challenge, and as a result, she's in the Second Chance Bowl. Our own McKenna, who's been with us for a while, she won the Second Chance. She won a contest this past Wednesday, and now she's in the Second Chance Bowl. Phil actually won a contest. A lot could go down. Not many people are in the Second Chance Bowl compared to those who are not. So I do want to say this. Getting a little bit crowded over there. Heck yeah, I did comment right there. It's directed to me. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to tell you what I do because I like numbers. I like math. Numbers are really, really cool. On February 21st, if you're free, show up. Anybody who's there that night, any green roomer and any viewer, including Chad, Julie, anyone. We'll pick 2 topics for us. Just 2. It'll be cumulative.
Oh.
McKenna, you can say yes or you could say no. You can hold on to your spot. If you beat me, you're in round number 1. Anything could happen. But if I beat you, you will never get a chance to be in the Second Chance Bowl.
Oh.
Not in this particular tournament anyhow.
Oh.
So, do you roll the dice? Do you bypass those in the Second Chance Bowl if you beat me? Or do you lose and never compete?
Ooh.
I'm down for the challenge. Let's see what happens. Ooh. Guys and gals, we'll see what McKenna has to say here. Bet you're going down Mr. Klein. Let's do it. It's on. It is on February 21st. Mark it on your calendar, guys and gals and pals. It'll be McKenna here, Julie, Avi Klein. McKenna will be playing for it all. She'll be playing for a spot in the prestigious round number 2. If she loses, she can never participate in the Second Chance Bowl. Big stakes again. And you guys will give us the topics live in real time. We will not have a chance to study them just the way I like it. So, guys and gals, again, may the best Person win. Besides for this competition on Wednesday night, remember the Second Chance Bowl voting will be back up and running on Wednesday. Mindy, your thoughts on Truly Julie as well. I know you're writing a lot of stuff there. Before you do, John, what do you think about working with Julie? She's not here tonight with us, but man, oh man, could she go.
Well, Julie, the thing about Julie, she's a straight shooter. She's not going to BS you. She doesn't beat around the bush. She's going to give you just how it is. And a lot of times when what we do, that's exactly what we need. We don't need a bunch of sugarcoat and stuff. She's not rude or anything. She's just straight to the point. She gets very direct, and she's what I call the real MVP behind the scenes. I mean, she's an intricate part of what makes us successful these last few months. Anyhow, with her coming along and really stepping up and picking up a lot of what needs to be done on a daily basis.
100%. And again, Jeff Jr., Lisa, Ramon, we see you. Leah, you're hanging in here. We appreciate you guys so much. Without you guys, we'd be turning off the broadcast already, but you're here with us. Chad, guys and gals and pals.
It was.
I don't want to wait. I want to air Chad's top 10. Are we going to do it? Are we going to air Chad's top 10? Every time we try to air Chad's top 10, it's after a 3-hour match. Chad, how about this? You decide, brother. Chad will decide because he should, because Chad is Mr. TKN. Chad Almighty, guys. Chad is the very essence of what we do. Chad has heart. Chad has soul. And guys and gals, Chad right now will decide whether I air this video of his. What do you say, Chad? In the meantime, while you're thinking, let's air another video from a green roomer that we adore. Someone who was excited about this particular match before it even aired.
This is Fred Ottman, Tugboat, Typhoon, the Shockmaster, the BADD. Big Steel Man coming at you live. Do you know what day it is? It's right, Saturday, February the 3rd. That's right, 8 p.m. is gonna be game time. Time for another round of the grand debate. All right, our first competitor, an award-winning actor. Number 2, our second competitor, a gold medal Olympic Hall of Famer. And number 3 is a pro wrestling Hall of Famer. That's right, boys and girls. It's going to be a great night on the grand debate tonight. Any clue who these competitors could possibly be? Oh my God. It's going to be interesting. And let me tell you, the TKN network keeps bringing it. Okay? One after another of great competitors, all right, that are participating in this thing. It's awesome. It's incredible. I cannot wait to see who they are this evening. I haven't got a clue. Have you? Well, let's get ready to listen to some incredible fun. See you, boys and girls. I'll be there right with you. Bye.
You heard Mr. Ottman, guys. That was before the night, before the match. A lot of times, Fred, guys and gals, on Saturdays he watches the show, of course, but a lot of times Fred watches it intently. He takes notes before the match even started. Well, who was it? I think it was Mark Henry who tonight said something Fred always brings up. Fred says something Mark brought up today, which is taking notes. Scouting the competition. You heard Mark say it. Guys, I say it all the time off camera. That's Mark. Mark scouts the competition, and so does Lou Ferrigno. So does the London brothers. So does Mr. Babcock, who all message me, watch the show either Saturday or Sunday. Everyone's scouting everybody. That's really, I mean, I can't say it more pointedly than that. Tommy Davidson the other day told me he's scouting the competition. He's watching some of the past episodes on his own accord. So everyone in round number 2 is really gearing up for the end of round 1, which is imminent. Some of the biggest names are still hanging around, so you're going to see them. Guys, outro time in a minute, but it looks like Chad said if the viewers want it, the viewers will get it. Let's play Chad's top 10.
All right.
I was going to build this thing up all the way to the end of round 1. Because we want another Chad top 10 next week. So guys and gals, let me scroll down over here. Chad's going to like what I'm about to do right now.
Ooh.
You said it's up to the viewers, Chad, right? It's up to me. I'm going to do this. if I play this video next week and we have at least 40 people commenting, 40 during Chad's video.
Oh.
I've got a surprise. That's all I'm going to say. I just worked it out in my mind. Chad, if I play this next week and there's 40 people commenting, I got a surprise. It's going to be fun. You'll like it. You'll like it. You might think it's just a tournament spot. No. But you'll like this surprise, and you'll like this prize. It is a prize for Chad. So, guys, Chad, next week it's on. Guys, it is the Chad Hour. Promoted all week. The Chad Hour. The Chad TKN Hour is happening next Saturday night. Nice. I want to see that in the comment section. I want to see it in posts. The Chad Hour. Yeah.
Yes.
Are we Oprah now? I have 96 things to say, but I won't say either of them. Okay, so guys, a quick no would be the answer. How about this? Okay, hold on. So yeah, guys, again, listen, Wednesday, Black Box, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Kate Hart's page, Kate Younghart, and also, of course, the page of Joe Rizart, who is Joe Risitano. That will happen 8 p.m. What about next week? What's going to happen next week? Guys, more videos next Saturday. Who's next? We're going to have a Second Chance Bowl video, heated moment video. But right now, enjoy this 5-6 minute outro as we leave you again with the sights and sounds that pull at my heartstrings and remind me why I'm in here to win it. Howard, are you in here to win it?
I'm here to win it. I'm here to leave some kind of legacy, as we talked about before.
Yeah. Then how about this? I ask everyone to be quiet now because you will not be backstage. I will simply give Howard a solo layout. So we're going to be quiet here. Howard, I know you want to win it. Why do you want to win it? I want to know your whys.
There was something that Rock said tonight that struck a chord. I don't know if I agree with him, though. He said something about this being, it's not personal. It was a variation of that. And I thought about, when self-worth and ambition are touching upon your heart, it's personal. Anything that challenges me and scares the living hell out of me in the midst of that fight, oh yeah, sure, I want to give up many times. But what happens when you push past that is that there's another you, another version of you, a better version of you that's waiting on the other side. It's never easy getting to that. This tournament, what it represents, is so much of that. All the plates that are spinning, all the topics that are discussed that are provided by the brilliant mind of Avi Klein, it really challenges us to really go deep inside, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. But why do I want to win it? To prove to myself that my heart can get through anything. There are moments, days where I doubt it. And this tournament and everything that it entails always challenges that. Many days where, and I'm sure you, the audience, probably have these days where you wake up and you're like, what are you worth? What's your real worth? And this tournament continues to help me reassess that in a different light. I want to win it because one day I want to leave something of merit, of worth behind. Maybe to a son, a daughter. God, that would be beautiful. You don't know how much time you got on this this planet that spins around. So everything you do in it, you got to make sure you put your whole in it. Even on those days where you're scared to do that.
Giselle.
This is what I have always loved. Being able to have conversations that go beyond, how are you? Conversations that you can sit and ponder and contemplate, and any other synonym you can think of for think. Because that's what makes us us. Our perspectives, our experiences, how they shape our worldview, and how we can learn from each other. So standing on top of this field, knowing that what I said and believe matters, that's the ultimate prize.
Mindy will go last. We'll read her thoughts. John, whenever you're ready.
You know, when I first got into this whole thing, I wasn't sure if I even belonged. You know, I kind of got in on a technicality. I think Avi had lost his voice to compete, so I competed in his place in what we called it was just a debate at that point. Well, that gave me the confidence to think that maybe there was more. You know, I don't think that I had as much faith in myself as what other people had in me. And I started to believe that I could not only compete, but I could be successful. Now, I don't know that I ever saw myself as being the last man standing, but I know what you have to do to prepare. I know I've been there, I've competed, and it's a rush that I can't get anywhere else. And so to be the person who hoists that trophy, that Tom Sizemore Cup, to be the first one that could be called Mr. TKN, that's something that will be with me forever. And I've won a lot of awards in the past, and I've had a lot of success doing different things, but this is something that would be just different. This was something that would be special. And knowing how much competition is out there and how much talent, notoriety that these people bring to this tournament, and how many people will be watching and the eyes that will be on you, that's something that nobody could ever take away from you.
Mindy Red. Let's see what you got. I love conversations. Winning this tournament will be leaving a legacy of change, love, compassion, and understanding. Having a legacy of being the best. I concur. I'm doing this for a friend who's no longer here. I don't need a solo layup. I'm not going to give myself one. I wanted you guys to see the eyes and the hearts and souls of these incredible loved ones I call the Green Roomers. But I do want to say this. In a couple of weeks, McKenna. Don't wake sleeping giants. I used to teach, and I still do. What makes me a good teacher is also everything that makes me a good student. I listen. I listen to the things that go bump in the night. I listen to things before they make a sound. Before something materializes or comes to fruition, I'm aware. So beware. Because I'll teach you your last lesson first. And then class will be dismissed. Until that happens, guys and gals, please enjoy this incredible outro. And remember, 175 consecutive episodes. That is anything but a podcast. We've wrestled. We've tumbled. We've fallen. We've risen. And we're still here. Milestones? Yeah, there's something. But beyond the numbers, what resonates with me most are the sweet sounds of you. So thank you all for being you. See you next Saturday with another great trio of luminaries. For Howard Collado, Giselle, Mindy Red, John Red, Rock Richards, Joe Ricitano, Mark Henry, Magnum TA, Dan Jansen, Michael Gross, and Mike Rotunda. A jam-packed show for a jam-packed night for a special occasion. See you all Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll be there. Maybe McKenna will too. Good night.
Going to be talent every time.
Please, somebody come up with, this ball.
Once I seen the bar being laughed with the Poker System's head, I felt I had a chance.
You got all the talent in the world, but are you obsessed? Is it all you ever think about?
That my work ethic had to be harder than everybody else's.
Now there's a stalemate.
I think that self-worth obviously has to come within yourself.
Is it all you ever think about?
You got to believe in who you are. You got to believe in the dreams that you're setting for yourself.
The good bard, Mr. Shakespeare.
A quality of me having a tremendous empathy for a fellow man and for everyone's, in spite of going beyond the skin.
What is the play and what is my part?
By fearing to. And those words ring oh so true. It means that you are the author of your story.
I will play.
Don't edit your vision due to others that secretly prefer to boo while attempting to obstruct your view.
What dreams may come. A quality of me having a tremendous empathy for a fellow man and for everyone's, going beyond the skin.
We Are the World made everybody feel like they were one. We were one world, and that's why I think it really stood out as something that was inspirational.
What dreams may come.
It made us one. There's a choice we're making. We're saving on our lives. It's true, we'll make a better day, just you and me. Come on now, let's all sing. We are the world.
Geraldo.
And Avi, you're always doing this, and
thank you,
bringing wonderful minds together. Your questions are so well thought out, and they allow us to go beyond.
Sleeping in the Lincoln bedroom in the White House with the TV on. Guess what comes on in the early morning hours that I wake up to at about 3 a.m? All the President's Men.
Oh, right. Bernstein, are you sure on this story? Absolutely. Woodward, I'm sure.
Came to you. You would talk to them caring and loving.
You're not able to because of the things that get in the way, which means that you have not perfected a routine.
I've perfected a routine. Every day I get up, I make the bed, I go to the gym and work out.
Torrin has a rebuttal.
So the celebration of it, I think, is really historically short-lived.
Been blamed. because you better believe those who should have been drafted.
I don't know if there's ever been more controversy in sport.
Banning the SMU from bowl game for 2 seasons. Well, yeah, I'd love to be able to say I beat all these guys.
There are no friends right now. Right now, you're here to win this entire thing.
It's like in sports, I'm sure Jim would say the same thing. You don't play for individual awards. You play for team championship.
Yeah, I don't even know Rick anymore.
Nixon used to walk around talking to the paintings.
Sure of it. Just got off the phone and it's gold. Okay, we go with it.
And it's going to create this panic. And they're going to start pulling their loved ones out of the facility.
Bill Paxton, when I think of him, the part he was playing was real, and that's why he was so great on screen.
What the hell are you talking about? Dorothy, you took her, you damn thief.
It's about being able to look your friends in the eye
These people are not going to have any opportunity at all
and know that you didn't let them down.
to make any kind of living.
Studying the craft and paying your dues will keep a storyteller safe mentally, physically, and emotionally.
Maestro. How beautiful your garden is depends on how beautiful you treat it, and how beautiful you love it, and how beautiful you take care of it. And I think that.
And that truth is that you did everything that you could. There wasn't one more thing that you could have done.
Trained to discount all the advice that goes along with that experience.
I want you to put each other in your hearts forever, because forever is about to happen here in just a few minutes.
What wins a World Series is chemistry.
Smith got a piece of it. Barry grab behind him, back flip to second. On to first, a double play.
Boys, my heart is full.
We're just fighting each other right now. We're preoccupied with this fight.
I've seen a lot of changing.
And with these crazy divisions.
The way you felt about me and the way I felt about you.
Find that commonality so we can.
That if I can change.
See how joined we are.
And you can change.
But that's how you inspire.
Everybody can change.
That's how you inspire through innovation, not for the sake of innovation. Because it's in your heart.
Get up, you son of a bitch. Mickey loves you.
In any fight, it's the guy who's willing to die who's gonna win that inch. And I know if I'm gonna have any life anymore. You gotta look at the guy next to you. Look into his eyes. Now I think you're gonna see a guy who will go that inch with you. You're gonna see a guy who will sacrifice himself.
You know what? Maybe one of the world's problems will get solved by listening to this show.
Avi, I'm gonna win this whole thing. Watch.
I know you are, Tom. I know you are.